Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Universal Job Transfer. I can extract skills from all realms. Chapter 41. Are we really not going to find the administrator? What if the guy wrapped in flames is burned to death? Probably not. The Flame Lord is not a fool, he will hold back, right? I don't think so. The guy just now is probably seriously injured and lying inside. You said it's not good for you to steal someone's mission. If you have to steal the Flame Lord's mission, you did it yourself. Hey, isn't this 13th brother? Are you here too? Hurry up and stop the Flame Lord. Zheng Xin lost to the freshman Zheng Feng before. Although he didn't say it, he knew it in his heart. So these days, whenever he has time, he will spend time in the training room by himself to improve his strength. I went out to use the restroom. When I came back, I saw a group of people gathered here, so I came over curiously. He actually didn't see clearly who was taking the written test inside. Just when he heard what the person at the door said and was about to go in and end the competition, he saw Shui Tianyuan standing inside. He knew very well that under normal circumstances Shui Tianyuan would act together with Zheng Feng. At this moment, Shui Tianyuan was inside and Zheng Feng was not there. He naturally knew very well who the person wrapped in flames could be. Especially when he saw the surprised look on the guy called the Flame Lord, he could basically make a conclusion. Brother 13, why don't you go in and save people? Someone saw that Zheng Xin had not been in a hurry to go in, so naturally he asked curiously. It's okay. The guy inside is okay. You'll know when you look down. In order to avoid further questions, Zheng Xin said directly and stood there to watch. The people around him were naturally full of doubts, but since Zheng Xin said so, they had no choice but to continue watching. On the trial ground, the Flame Lord looked at Zheng Feng in surprise. Under normal circumstances, his opponents are basically unable to withstand such terrifying temperatures. Only once, when I met number 14 who came out of that class, he didn't care about his temperature at all. At this moment, Zheng Feng naturally had no idea what the people around him were thinking. He just squatted down and looked at the ground of the trial field that was being burned by flames. Sure enough, it is one of the top 10 universities. The quality of the training ground here is great. It's just different from the trial field I used in high school. If it were a high school training ground, it would probably have started to melt under the flames burning at this temperature. The trial ground here has not changed at all. It seems that I can use my abilities at will when the time comes, and I don't have to worry about destroying the trial ground here. After understanding the matter, he slowly stood up straight. I don't have time to waste with you here. I'm going to seize the time to complete a few more tasks. The Flame Lord was still a little surprised. After hearing Zheng Feng's words, he immediately burst into laughter. Do you think I am called Flame Lord for nothing? How quickly do you want to finish me off? Come on. Let me see how powerful you are. If you were injured by me, don't come to trouble me again. In an instant, the surrounding temperature rose again. The yellow-haired young man who was standing not far away could no longer bear the terrifying temperature. He quickly trotted through the crowd and arrived outside the trial room. Zheng Feng also frowned slightly at this time. Although he didn't really care about the temperature of the flames burning around him, it was indeed a lot higher. He also started to sweat. It seems that we need to hurry up and end this competition. Not just to complete the task. More than a dozen rays of sword energy were instantly swung out, flying towards the Flame Lord. Interesting. Feeling the sword energy flying towards him, the Flame Lord immediately praised him. But the next moment, his body turned directly into a burning flame, and the sword energy passed directly through his body. Zheng Feng frowned slightly. Elementalize. Did this guy eat Mara fruit? The people watching the battle all looked surprised when they saw the changes in the Flame Lord's body. Even Zheng Xin frowned tightly. Although these freshmen who were recruited in advance constitute the current class. However, from the establishment of Southwest Military Academy to today, there have been situations where people in this class will be replaced. Every year, a week after specially recruited freshmen enter the school, a challenge activity will begin. As long as other students with sufficient strength are interested, they can challenge those in the class composed of specially recruited freshmen. If one can successfully defeat a selected challenger among them, then, the challenged person will finally be taken out of the class, and the challenger will enter it. thus completing the replacement of personnel. This is also to ensure that all students in this class are the strongest combatants of the college. Right now, with the abilities displayed by the Flame Lord, there is already a vague possibility of succeeding in the challenge. In fact, he challenged it once last year. His opponent at that time was Zhao Pei, but he failed in the end. This year, if he challenges again, it is probably very likely. As for whether Zheng Fengfang will lose this competition now, Zheng Xin is not worried at all. If that's all you do, it's actually just prolonging the time a little bit. Zheng Feng said something. The next moment, he rushed in front of the Flame Lord. A flash of light on the fingertips instantly pointed towards the elementalized body of the Flame Lord. It's useless. My body has completely turned into flames now. Your attack is of no use at all. Yeah, that flash of light exploded the moment it touched the Flame Lord. Along with the explosion, a ball of flame was blown away directly. Soon it was extinguished under Zheng Feng's stampede. The Flame Lord did not expect that the other party would use this method to deal with his current form. He had indeed transformed into flames, but if he kept exploding like this, he would have no way to condense his body again. Once the body cannot condense, won't he die here? No, there is absolutely no way this guy can use that explosive energy all the time. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just exploded part of his body. But the next moment, when he looked behind Zheng Feng, he immediately decided to remove the elementalization immediately. The dazzling light spots behind Zheng Feng were like stars in the night sky. If these attacks were to fall instantly, even if they were elementalized, they would probably be destroyed instantly. But there is another problem now. If he releases his elementalization, he will not be able to withstand these attacks at all. Suddenly, the Flame Lord was in a dilemma. I surrender. There was no other way. At this time, the Flame Lord had no choice but to sigh helplessly and made this seemingly embarrassing move. The surrounding flames all dissipated the moment he said these words. Those who were watching the situation outside fell into silence for an instant. After a while, someone finally spoke up and asked in disbelief. Did you hear that? The Flame Lord actually admitted defeat. Who is the other party? He doesn't look like a senior. Is this the person who can make the Flame Lord bow his head and admit defeat? Everyone's eyes turned towards Zheng Xin almost instantly. Zheng Xin also knew what these guys' looks meant, and he nodded without any concealment. Let me go. Are the specially recruited freshmen who just entered the school a few years ago so good? I'm still thinking about practicing and going over there to try and see if I can challenge. Now you tell me, are the guys who are new to the school this year so strong? Brother 13, how does this guy compare to you? I lost to him. Zheng Xin answered as if he didn't care at all. In just an instant, the sound of gasping could be heard all around. No one could have imagined that this matter would turn out like this. Even Zheng Xin, who was ranked 13th, lost. What kind of monster is this? The Flame Lord in the training room also heard Zheng Xin's answer at the door. Suddenly, he felt that it was not so shameful to admit defeat. After he admitted defeat, Zheng Feng naturally put away his attack methods immediately. It shouldn't matter if I accept the mission now, right? He glanced at the Flame Lord indifferently. At this moment, the Flame Lord didn't dare to say no, and immediately nodded his head. Okay, you can take it as you please. If you need anything in the future, you can come to me directly. I hope you don't take this matter too seriously today. Since the other party said so, Zheng Feng also wanted to give the other party some face. So he nodded slightly, indicating that he would not dwell on this matter. Now that the matter has been resolved, Zheng Feng is not ready to stay here any longer. Since he accepted the task and there were corresponding things to do, he naturally had to hurry up and complete the task. In the stunned eyes of everyone, Zheng Feng just said hello to Zheng Xin at the door and left directly. Zheng Feng walked out of the training room and soon found Shui Tianyuan following him. Brother Shui, do you want to go with me too? He asked doubtfully. Shui Tianyuan naturally nodded. After all, we are fellow villagers. As you can see, I have actually offended a lot of people. I can feel at ease only if I'm with you. Hearing Shui Tianyuan's explanation, Zheng Feng also felt like crying. How come after I got to know this guy, the more I got along with him, the more I found that this guy was a little clingy. Since Shui Tianyuan said so, Zheng Feng had no choice but to nod in agreement. After all, maybe Shui Tianyuan's perception ability can be of some help by then. According to the information on the academy, the second-level beast they need to hunt this time is in the woods outside the academy. Forest crawlers are ferocious beasts that live in groups, so if you are lucky. Basically, Zheng Feng can complete the task within one day. Soon, at the gate of the college, after showing his student card to the guard inside, the other party directly read the task that Zheng Feng had accepted from it, and simply let him go. Because Shui Tianyuan was with Zheng Feng, he was naturally not stopped. It is basically difficult for students who enter the college to go out directly, and their identities will be checked every time they go out. If there is nothing important, the general guard will not let you go. Soon, the two people who left the academy found the area shown in the information. This area is not far from the route the two took from the city to find the entrance to the academy according to the map. So it didn't take much time for the two of them to start hunting directly. 30 meters away on the right, there are two. After Shui Tianyuan's feet assimilated with the ground, he immediately fed back certain information to Zheng Feng. 3 minutes later, two late-stage second-order forest climbing beasts were caught in Zheng Feng's hands. I don't know if the two of them were unlucky. 3 days passed and they only managed to kill 11 animals in total. Of course, the number they encountered was definitely not this number, but the mission had requirements for the murderer's level. Most of the ferocious beast levels do not meet the requirements. It's strange. According to the records, the levels of these forest beasts are generally not too low this season. Is there something wrong with the records in the academy? Zheng Feng stood on a tree and asked with a frown. Shui Tianyuan beside him, half of his body melted into the tree, also frowned slightly. During this time, he actually felt some abnormal signs through assimilation. But since it had nothing to do with their mission, Shui Tianyuan didn't say anything. Now that Zheng Feng said this, he also wanted to connect the two. No matter, keep going. There are still 4 days left. According to the current progress, the task can still be completed. After saying that, Zheng Feng continued to search according to the areas marked on the data. Half an hour later, the two stopped together on a tree. 40 meters ahead, there are 3 people. Shui Tianyuan reminded. Zheng Feng nodded silently. Because the academy updates tasks from time to time, it is normal for someone to come here to do tasks. Just when the two were about to ignore what the other party was, Shui Tianyuan frowned. The other party seems to have discovered us and is approaching quickly. 30 meters away, Zheng Feng also felt the other party's presence. Soon, 3 figures appeared under the tree. The 3 of them raised their heads together and smiled at the 2 people on the tree trunk. Hello, fellow students, are you cadets from the Southwest Military Academy? We are students from Sakura University of Eastern Europe. We came here for exchange and study, but according to the map, we got lost. I wonder if 2 classmates can take us there. Among the 3, the tall and thin man raised his head and asked. After knowing the identity of the other party, Shui Tianyuan immediately snorted. You, Sakura Flower Country, still have the nerve to come to our Dragon Country. Have you forgotten what you did? The 3 people below immediately sighed. I'm really sorry, that was not our original intention. We don't want to do that either. The reason why we come here to exchange and learn is actually to atone for our sins. I'm so sorry. After saying that, the 3 of them also bent down together and bowed fiercely to the 2 people on the tree. Do you think the 3 of them are really here to exchange and learn? Zheng Feng did not rush to respond to the 3 people under the tree, but asked Shui Tianyuan in a low voice. Shui Tianyuan sneered. I don't feel like it. When these guys come here, they may not be doing anything good. How about you go back and notify the school first? I'll keep an eye on these people. Shui Tianyuan glanced at Zheng Feng and immediately took the lead in expressing his agreement. Okay, be careful yourself. These guys can probably do anything. Don't worry, if I can't beat you, can't I escape? Zheng Feng grinned. Shui Tianyuan then completely assimilated into the tree and then walked away. Zheng Feng also jumped down from the tree. Since you are here to exchange and learn, just wait for a few days. I still have a task on hand. I have to complete it first before I can go back. It won't take a few days. You can't find a spot at the school gate anyway, so you might as well come with me. The tall and thin man at the head smiled and nodded. Then he asked, that companion of yours just now? Oh, he has other tasks, so he goes to work first. He doesn't think very well of you in his heart. You can understand that, right? Just follow me. Zheng Feng did not explain what exactly Shui Tianyuan went to do, but just gave a general outline. Oh, I got it. Students at your school are really working hard. I wonder what grade of college you are in, little brother. I just enrolled in school not long ago. Zheng Feng didn't say much. After simply answering, he was ready to continue performing the mission. I still have to perform a mission, so just follow me. After saying that, Zheng Feng also started to move forward according to the original plan. The three people who fell behind him also looked at each other at this moment, and without any hesitation, they also hurriedly followed. However, the three people followed and said something in the language of Sakura Flower Country. Although Zheng Feng heard it, he didn't know the content. Soon, Zheng Feng met the forest beast again and killed it in an extremely clumsy manner. After all, sometimes, it is better not to reveal too much strength in front of certain people. In the blink of an eye, the sky darkened. Zheng Feng landed on a flat ground and planned to rest here temporarily tonight. The three people behind him had no objections either. Shui Tianyuan, who originally left Shui Tianyuan and was about to go back to the school to talk about the situation here, found someone following him before he could advance far. Although the other party hid it well, Shui Tianyuan still discovered it due to his extremely keen sense. The assimilation ability is activated. Shui Tianyuan's entire aura completely dissipated. 10 minutes later, two men in black clothes followed. Where did that person go just now? He must not be allowed to go back, and the news that we entered this forest must not be exposed. One of them uses Sakura flower language to communicate with his companions. That guy's breath has completely disappeared. He must have discovered us. It seems that he found out about it. Another man in black squatted down on the tree trunk and took out something like an 8 trigrams mirror from his arms. A drop of blood fell from between the guy's body and onto the mirror. A red line appeared instantly. The arrow at the front instantly pointed to the tree trunk next to the two of them. Hiding here, the moment the arrow stopped rotating, their eyes instantly fell on the tree trunk next to them. One of them even pulled out a short sword from behind and plunged it directly into the tree trunk next to him. You actually discovered it. In that case, I'll send you to hell. Shui Tianyuan's figure instantly appeared on another branch. He kept squinting his eyes, but his eyes were now fully open. An indescribable aura was constantly rising from his body. Little brother, this is a fine wine brewed by our Sakura Flower Country using unique methods. Do you want to try it? On Zheng Feng's side, he was planning to eat some of the prey he had caught on the road. The tall and thin man walked up to him. He held a white porcelain bottle and handed it to him. Zheng Feng naturally looked at this guy with some vigilance and was not in a hurry to take over the bottle. Don't worry, we can drink it ourselves. Seeing that Zheng Feng did not accept it, the tall and thin man also pointed to his companion. The other two people did hold the same porcelain bottle in their hands. Seeing Zheng Feng looking towards them at this moment, the two people immediately raised the porcelain bottles in their hands. Naturally, Zheng Feng couldn't refuse the other party's kindness. However, after drinking it, I actually didn't feel much. Zheng Feng didn't take it to heart. Soon, after finishing their meal, they found a place to lie down. Zheng Feng naturally did not fall asleep directly. With these three guys lying next to him, he still had to be careful. Soon, Zheng Feng heard the sound of footsteps. The three people walked directly in front of him at this moment and looked at him lying on the ground. Three of you, what's the matter? It's nothing, I just want your life. The tall and thin man in the lead suddenly sneered. After hearing this, Zheng Feng immediately planned to sit up. However, his body seemed unable to complete the thoughts in his mind at the moment. Zheng Feng wanted to sit up, but he felt that his body was extremely heavy, as if it was filled with lead water. Is there something wrong with that bottle? Zheng Feng immediately thought of the white porcelain bottle. Yes, but you found it too late. It's time to hit the road. The three people standing in front of Zheng Feng drew out 3 short blades that shone with cold light. Zheng Feng looked at the scene in front of him. Not only did he not panic at all, He even laughed suddenly. Do you think that since I can't move, I have no means of counterattack? The tall and thin man at the head stared at Zheng Feng, who was lying on the ground. Hearing what he said at this moment, he couldn't hold it back. Ha ha ha, do you people from the Dragon Kingdom like to pretend like this? To use your old saying, you are now the fish on the chopping board and can only be controlled by me. Do it, keep it clean, don't get discovered by then. The tall and thin man snorted coldly, and then said to the two people behind him. The two people nodded immediately and stood next to Zheng Feng, one on the left and the other on the right. The short sword shining with cold light in his hand was inserted directly into Zheng Feng's chest. Boom! A crisp sound rang in everyone's ears. The two short swords were about to land on Zheng Feng's chest, but they were disconnected in the middle for no apparent reason. The two men were slightly stunned at this moment. But after years of training, they didn't spend too much time, and they came back to their senses immediately after leaving. The broken short sword in his hand pierced Zheng Feng's chest again. It's just interrupted, and it doesn't affect the damage short sword can bring. However, there was a crisp sound again. Boom. The short sword, which was left in both hands, was interrupted again, leaving only the last wooden handle. I told you, even if I can't move now, you can't hurt me. Zheng Feng, who was lying on the ground, sneered and repeated it again. The tall and thin man also frowned slightly. It's interesting. I don't believe there is a first time, and there will be a second time. With that said, he decided to do it himself. It was also at this time that three guys from Sakura Flower Country finally knew why the crisp sound was made before. Although Zheng Feng couldn't move his body, he could still move his fingers slightly. Dots of light were gathering at his fingertips. Then he popped it out. It is also because of this that the attacks of the first two guys were ineffective. I see. It seems like the effects of the medicine haven't fully taken effect yet. Then just wait. Once the medicine takes full effect, I promise you won't be able to move anything. After the tall and thin man saw through Zheng Feng's thoughts, he directly led the two men back a few steps and kept a certain distance from Zheng Feng. Begin to wait patiently for the final onset of the drug's effects. Zheng Feng naturally would not wait for time to pass in vain, and he curiously asked the three people in front of him. Since you have attacked me, it is obvious that you are not here to study as you said before. What on earth are you doing here? I'm going to die in your hands soon, you have to let me die clearly, right? Facing Zheng Feng's inquiry, the tall and thin man sneered and did not make any response. It seemed like he didn't want to answer the question. Seeing that the other party didn't speak, Zheng Feng sighed helplessly. Well, as long as you are willing to tell me what you are here for. I can also exchange a secret from our school with you. We in the Dragon Kingdom have another old saying, when a person is about to die, his words are kind. You should have heard of it, right? At this moment, Zheng Feng's words made the tall and thin man show a curious look on his face. It seemed that he was somewhat interested in this matter. Oh, are you really willing to exchange information with us? That's natural. Zheng Feng nodded affirmatively. In that case, let's have a chat. You go ahead and tell me. I have to make sure that the information you tell us will be helpful to us. The tall and thin man was actually not stupid. In this matter, he naturally chose to let Zheng Feng speak first. You probably don't know that there is a class of students in Southwest Military Academy who are specially recruited every day, right? I know a new student recruited this year named Zhao Mingsheng. Well, I can tell you his general appearance. It seems that he is the new recruit that the Southwest Military Academy is planning to train this year. Zheng Feng followed and said something. Regarding this news, the tall and thin man was silent for a while. Then please tell us what the person who joins us as Zhao Mingsheng is like. You just released the information from the academy, wouldn't you feel ashamed? Zheng Feng immediately smiled. Ashamed? Why should I be ashamed? I'm going to die soon, why do I care about those things? Zhao Mingsheng probably looks like this. Then, Zheng Feng also told Zhao Mingsheng's appearance, although some parts were made up by himself. But he didn't actually make any changes to the description of Zhao Mingsheng's appearance. Poor Zhao Mingsheng didn't know at all that he was being targeted by people outside while he was doing well in the academy. Okay, I've finished telling you all the important news I know. It's your turn. After finishing speaking, Zhang Feng also glanced at the tall and thin man. I can only tell you that when we came here this time, we actually didn't have any big ideas. I'm just preparing to slightly damage your related facilities. As long as we succeed, we will retreat. The information you gave me can only be exchanged for these things. If you want to know more detailed information, you have to exchange it for other information. After Zhang Feng heard this, he couldn't help but snorted in his heart. This guy is really a ghost, and he only said a little bit. I must know that they are here to cause trouble. They have done this to me, what else can I think they are here to do? Thinking of this, Zhang Feng also cursed several times in his heart. Then he looked in the direction where he had separated from Shui Tianyuan before. Don't look at it. Your companion can't come back. Well, he probably can't come back either. My other companions had already followed you when you separated. They are probably already waiting for you on the Wangquan Road. When the tall and thin man saw where Zhang Feng was looking, he sneered and stood up immediately. In fact, there is almost enough time. Sure enough, when he looked at Zhang Feng's fingers, the original light had completely disappeared. Yeah, are you so sure that your companions can really deal with him? Just like you, haven't you done anything to me now? Suddenly, a strange smile appeared on Zhang Feng's face. The tall and thin man couldn't help but feel worried after hearing Zhang Feng's words. He also quickly took out his special communicator and started to contact his companions. Hey, please answer when you receive the message. After speaking into the communicator, the man waited patiently. But after waiting for a long time, no sound came from the communicator. No need to wait, I have already taken care of them. A voice suddenly sounded from behind the man. When he turned his head, he saw his two men standing side by side. Their faces were pressed together. At this moment, another face slowly appeared from where their faces met. I told you to be careful with these guys from Sakura Flower Country, but you just didn't listen. It's okay now. He directly assimilated the two of them and said angrily to Zhang Feng, who was lying on the ground. At this time, Zhang Feng stood up slowly under the man's surprised eyes and patted the dust on his back. How did I know this guy was so bad? But isn't this okay? How can you stand up? The tall and thin man looked at Zhang Feng in surprise. The effect of the medicine he gave him would take a day to wear off. It is impossible for a person who has been hit by this medicine to stand up so quickly. Oh, stand up. Of course I'll take the antidote. As he said that, Zhang Feng pointed at the place where he just lay. There was a small bottle standing next to it. The tall and thin man recognized the bottle at a glance. It was naturally the bottle they used to store the antidote internally. So, how are you going to die now? Shui Tianyuan said coldly. The tall and thin man was currently sandwiched between Shui Tianyuan and Zhang Feng. But soon, the surprise on his face disappeared and was replaced by a sneer. You can't kill me, I am the third young master of the Yamamoto family. My elder brother is nearby. If you kill me, he will receive the message immediately. He will find you immediately, and you will all die in his hands by then. The tall and thin man said confidently. But the response he got was an extremely casual one from Zhang Feng. What about the Yamamoto family? This is Daxia, not your Sakura Flower Country. Forget it, I don't want to talk nonsense with you anymore. As for your brother, if he is ready to come to us, then come. After saying that, Zhang Feng waved his hand directly. Bladestorm. More than a dozen sword energy flew out instantly. Although the tall and thin man did not expect that Zhang Feng would actually take action, even after revealing his identity. He had no choice but to draw his sword. A curtain of wind suddenly appeared in front of him. All the sword energy was resisted. Interesting. But not enough. Zhang Feng sneered. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Countless points of light appeared behind Zhang Feng. The next moment, it hit the man like a rainstorm. Although the wind curtain in front of the tall and thin man blocked most of it, the other half still passed through the wind curtain. The tall and thin man at this moment had holes all over his body. Blood kept splashing out from it. It's just the Yamamoto family. Not enough evidence. Shui Tianyuan, who had already come out of the bodies of the two men, also suddenly appeared behind the man. A long sword pierced the man's chest directly from behind. If he really wants to cause trouble, our Shui family will wait for him. Are you Are you from the Shui family? Before the man's aura completely dissipated, he glanced at Shui Tianyuan in surprise. It seemed that he knew Shui Tianyuan's identity very well. After all, the man's aura dissipated, a point of light flew out from between his eyebrows and disappeared in front of the two of them in the blink of an eye. This guy didn't lie to us. His brother is probably nearby. We have to go back to the academy immediately. This matter is very important, we can't waste any more time. Shui Tianyuan stared at the passing light spot, frowned and said something. But my mission. Naturally, Zheng Feng still didn't want to go back. It's just 5,000 Chinese coins. If you fail the mission, I'll give it to you. Come on, come back with me. This was the first time Zheng Feng saw Shui Tianyuan looking so serious, so he simply didn't say anything. The two of them immediately took advantage of the darkness and began to rush towards the entrance of the college. In an area deep in the woods. 10 people in total. 8 of them were drawing something on the ground. In the center of the 8 people, sat a man whose face was somewhat similar to the tall and thin man. A point of light suddenly passed through the woods and disappeared into the man's body. The man who had his eyes closed opened them instantly. How dare you kill my brother? You all must die. He stood up suddenly and looked in the direction where Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were heading at the moment. The next thing he knew, he had disappeared. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were rushing towards the school gate at this moment. In order to hunt down the ferocious beast designated on the mission, the two actually went a little far. After running for a long distance, the two of them saw the 4 tallest buildings in the college from a distance. Shui Tianyuan, who was advancing, suddenly felt something. He grabbed the corner of Zheng Feng's clothes in front of him and led him to fall from the branch temporarily. Just a little bit in front of where the two of them were just now. All trees were cut neatly. Trouble, that guy's brother seems to be catching up. Shui Tianyuan frowned and looked at the position deep in the woods behind him. Zheng Feng also vaguely felt an extremely solemn murderous aura. Is that you? The figure of the other party has not yet appeared, but the voice has already been transmitted. Fu Arashiri. A strong wind roared instantly. All the tree trunks blown by the strong wind were neatly cut off. Shui Tianyuan and Zheng Feng both felt the huge lethality coming from this strong wind. Almost immediately, an assimilation entered the ground, a direct body elementalization. When the strong wind dissipated, a figure approached the two of them step by step. Lin Fuji Meitu. As soon as the words fell, the surrounding trees began to shake together. The branches on it became soft in an instant, swinging like a whip, and flew towards the two of them. Fortunately, both of them were still in a defensive state at this moment and did not suffer any substantial damage. Shui Tianyuan, this is not far from the school gate. You should hurry up and go back. Let me stop this guy. After Zheng Feng saw the strength of the guy in front of him, Ruo frowned and said in a deep voice. Shui Tianyuan wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Zheng Feng. The best you can do is to ensure that you won't be killed, but you can't stop this guy. Only I can stop him. After confirming Zheng Feng's thoughts, Shui Tianyuan didn't say anything. He, who had assimilated with the land, immediately moved away. Zheng Feng was left alone, facing that guy at the moment. Are you the one who killed my brother? The man came closer at this moment and asked Zheng Feng directly in his elemental state. Zheng Feng admitted it openly. Your brother wants to kill me, why, can't I fight back? No, you useless people, how can you compare with my brother? Since you killed him, you should go down and accompany him. As he spoke, the man suddenly stretched out his hand. Fire Tengyan. A fire dragon flew out of his palm in an instant. Although Zheng Feng maintained his elemental form at this moment, the temperature brought by the fire dragon assigned to him was constantly scorching him. Moreover, the current elementalization of Zheng Feng also has a time limit. The Flame Lord who had fought against each other in the trial room before, the temperature of the flame he released seemed to be not even 1/10 that of this fire dragon. In just a moment, Zheng Feng had to unlock his elementalization. Shan Julie. The moment Zheng Feng released his elemental transformation and restored his physical body. Above the ground, a huge claw made of stone grabbed him tightly. Fu Arashiri. The violent wind howled again. Zheng Feng frowned and cursed in a low voice. At this moment, his body was directly fixed in place, which was equivalent to a living target. The key is that during the 10 minutes after the elementalization was lifted, he had no way to enter the elementalized state again. The only good thing right now is that his hands are not fixed for the time being. Bladestorm. The sword energy and the strong wind summoned by the guy came into contact, causing a roar instantly. System, how many upgrade points do I have now? Taking advantage of this moment, Zheng Feng quickly inquired about the system. Host currently has a total of 15 upgrade points. Do you want to use them now? Use them all and add them to my strength. Ding, the points have been added successfully. The current host strength is 64, constitution is 59, and skill damage is 30. After the sound of the system sounded, Zheng Feng instantly felt that his power had indeed increased a lot. The stone that trapped him was forced free by him. The man was a little surprised when he saw Zheng Feng rushing out of the stone on his own. Sure enough, the people here at the Southwest Military Academy should not be underestimated. Fu Arashiri, Lin Fuji Meitu. Zheng Feng also frowned tightly after activating 2 abilities in succession. The sword energy was released again, and as for the vines that were wrapping around him, Zheng Feng directly used his fingers to continuously use the sparkling fruit ability to blow them up. No, you have to get closer to this guy. At this time, Zheng Feng also roughly knew this guy's abilities. Basically, they are all means of long-range attacks. If you want to defeat this guy, you have to get close to his body. After determining the direction of the battle, Zheng Feng suddenly exerted force on his feet and rushed towards the guy. The man also discovered Zheng Feng's thoughts. A whirlwind was generated directly under his feet, and his entire body floated directly into the air. Zheng Feng raised his head and glanced at the man in midair, gritting his back molars. You are very smart, but after all you are not strong enough. If you hadn't killed my brother, I wish we could have been friends. Even if you are willing, I can introduce you to join our Yamamoto family. It's a pity that I can only send you on your way now. Fire Realm. With the man at the center, a curtain of fire instantly enveloped Zheng Feng. Reincarnate for eternity. A voice like a devil's whisper suddenly appeared in Zheng Feng's ear. The next one, a stone spike stained with magma, pierced Zheng Feng's chest directly. It is detected that the host is dying. Do you want to use special abilities? Special power. What special ability? Host will overdraw 100 upgrade points in advance to obtain the optimal solution to the current situation from all the worlds. Do you want to use it now? The system actually has this function. Zheng Feng was stunned, but right now, he can clearly feel that his life force is draining away, and he has no choice. Use. Ding, the special ability was used successfully. Within 3 months, the host needs to complete the repayment of skill points, otherwise it will explode and die. The skill extraction from all realms was successful, and I obtained the skill Endless Rage. The host will not die within 5 seconds. After the 5 seconds expires, all the host's fatal injuries will be deducted by continuous blood loss. At this moment, the man suspended in midair slowly landed. Using the killing move just now consumed a little more on him. But no matter what, he gave Zheng Feng a fatal blow in front of him. This is your punishment. I hope you can be more careful in your next life. You can't touch the people of the Yamamoto family if you want. The man looked at Zheng Feng, who had his eyes closed at this moment and his breath had dropped to the lowest point, and took a deep look. He was in no hurry to leave. Although he knew that the guy in front of him would definitely not survive after being hit by his fatal blow. But he had to wait until the breath of the guy in front of him dissipated before he could feel relieved. This is an advantage, a very nice plus, but just because of this, his expression quickly changed. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. How could it be like this? Zheng Feng's aura, which was weakening, suddenly stopped at the last trace and no longer continued to dissipate. It was as if time was fixed on Zheng Feng's body. His breath remained stable to the last trace. In other words, Zheng Feng can't die now. Just when the man felt extremely confused, Zheng Feng, who had closed his eyes, suddenly opened his eyes. An indescribable, pure red suddenly appeared in Zheng Feng's eyes. Who are you? Why is this happening? The man looked at Zheng Feng in disbelief. But the next moment, Zheng Feng's punch hit him hard on the chest. His whole body flew out. Afterwards, Zheng Feng also pulled out the stone spike on his chest. Throw it on the ground and crush it underfoot. The countdown begins. Host, please take advantage of the time. The sound of the system sounded. Zheng Feng took a deep breath and stared at the man in front of him. The remaining time is 5 seconds. The system's countdown sound began to ring in Zheng Feng's ears. Zheng Feng naturally did not hesitate at all and waved his hand first. More than a dozen sword energy directly opened the way. He himself followed closely behind and came to the guy. Before the man could recover from Zheng Feng's state, the sword energy had already arrived in front of him. After resisting the sword energy, Zheng Feng's face appeared in front of him. Boom! A fist hit him hard in the face. A wisp of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth in an instant. The remaining time is 4 seconds. Zheng Feng then raised his hand and activated his sparkling fruit ability. A flash of light instantly appeared from his finger, pointing directly at the man's chest. At this time, the man was naturally knocked back to his senses by the punch just now. 4 layers of defense instantly appeared on his body. Boom! After a roar, the man's 4 layers of defense were directly blasted through 3 layers. Although the last layer of defense still exists, it is obvious that half of it has been penetrated. The remaining half is also in danger. Fortunately, the man was not completely exposed to the full blow from Zheng Feng. The remaining time is 3 seconds. This time, Zheng Feng directly stretched out 10 fingers, and countless light spots appeared behind him at the same time. He's ready to go all guns blazing. Just blast this guy to death right here. The man also reacted completely. At this moment, he was no longer actively defending. He also forcibly mobilized his abilities. Furinkazan. The 4 abilities are activated together instantly. But for Zheng Feng in this state, all 4 attacks with abilities have lost their effect. Even Zheng Feng's body was cut with blood marks by the wind power. Even though the blood marks were so deep that you could see the bones, Zheng Feng still had no intention of stopping. The surrounding vines also penetrated directly into his body. The flames completely adhered to Zheng Feng, turning him directly into a burning man. One by one, the thorns penetrated Zheng Feng's body. But it still didn't stop his attack. Monster! What kind of monster are you? The man looked at the scene in front of him and it was too late to think about anything. At this moment, there was only such a thought in his mind. Other than that, don't have any ideas. Zheng Feng's attack also fell directly at this moment. Although the man did not die, he even escaped from the center of the explosion. But the situation is not much better. One of his legs has completely disappeared. The flesh and blood on one arm completely disappeared, leaving only snow-white bone nails. Half of his face was also blown up by the explosion. It looked extremely miserable. The remaining time is 2 seconds. The countdown continues. With the other party still in front of him, Zheng Feng would naturally not choose to let him go. His hands slowly rose above his head. It was late at night, but a dazzling light suddenly appeared above Zheng Feng's head. Like the sun in daylight, it illuminates the surrounding scene. The man looked at the vitality bomb appearing in Zheng Feng's hand. He couldn't help but gasp. Just now, he had tried it. All his attacks had no effect on this guy. Even if I want to interrupt this guy's forward swing now, there is no chance at all. What to do? Soon, he thought of the only way. That is to escape. Don't hesitate at all, escape from here immediately. The only way to survive is to escape. The moment this thought occurred, the man immediately turned around and used all his abilities to escape. In just a blink of an eye, he disappeared from Zheng Feng's eyes. There is 1 second left. The system mechanical sound sounded. Zheng Feng looked at the direction in which the man escaped just now and threw the vitality bomb in his hand directly. Boom! An explosion sounded in the distance. A deep pit the size of a football field instantly appeared on the ground. However, the man's figure has completely disappeared, and it is not known whether he melted into the pit or whether he really escaped. The remaining time is 0 seconds. The moment this voice sounded, the redness in Zheng Feng's eyes instantly dissipated. His whole body also fell down helplessly. Before falling into coma, he vaguely saw Shui Tianyuan coming with someone. I'm going, my head hurts. Zheng Feng sat up from the bed and touched his head, feeling some indescribable pain. It was like there were 1,000 needles pricking my head constantly at this time. It's so uncomfortable. You kid finally woke up. You scared me to death. At this moment, Shui Tianyuan's voice came from the side. It was also at this time that Zheng Feng realized that he seemed to be in a ward somewhere. You were in a coma for a whole month, but you worried me to death. If Teacher Chen hadn't said that your vital signs were relatively stable, I probably would never have forgiven myself in this life. Shui Tianyuan was unusually serious. Seeing Shui Tianyuan like this, Zheng Feng also smiled. Am I okay? By the way, was I in a coma for a month? How are those people from Sakura Flower Country doing? Do you know what they are planning to do? Shui Tianyuan motioned for Zheng Feng to lie down first, and then he gave a rough answer. Yes, for a whole month, everyone was shocked when I brought you back. You are just a hair away from dying there. Your whole body is riddled with holes. Fortunately, you were lucky. Teacher Chen found 6 teachers with repair ability from nowhere and brought you back. As for those guys from Sakura Flower Country, they were all found out by the academy within a week. It's just that the guy from the Yamamoto family is missing. We don't know whether he died at your hands. We have a rough idea of their purpose. They are planning to use the magic circle to summon a group of level 5 or above ferocious beasts to cause trouble while the freshmen are starting school. Zheng Feng also nodded slightly when he heard this. Then he remembered what the system had said to him in the end. It's still the same ability that I drew back then. System, can the ability I drew at that time be used freely now? That ability is really too strong. If he could use it all the time, he wouldn't have to worry about dying suddenly. Host, I'm sorry, the abilities extracted after starting the special ability can only be used once. Furthermore, the special ability can only be used 5 times. Host, you have already used it once, and the number cannot be updated. After receiving the system's answer, Zheng Feng was stunned instantly. Such a powerful skill can only be used once. The most important thing is that I am still short of 100 system upgrade points. The original 3 months of repayment time now only has 2 months left. If he doesn't do it by then, he might just explode and die as the system said. Thinking about it, Zheng Feng felt his head hurt even more. What's wrong? Do you want me to call the doctor for you? Seeing Zheng Feng's appearance at this moment, Shui Tianyuan also left and stood up. I'm fine, I just want to be quiet now. Zheng Feng sighed helplessly. Shui Tianyuan also stood up immediately. Okay, since you want to be quiet, I'll go out first. If you need anything, just shout. With that said, Shui Tianyuan opened the door of the ward and was about to go out. But when he was about to go out, he remembered something, turned around and said to Zheng Feng. Oh, I forgot to tell you, my sister is here too. This week, she has been taking care of you. Counting the time, she will be here soon. I'm right outside, you kid, don't think of doing anything outrageous to my sister. At the end, Shui Tianyuan couldn't help but snorted coldly. Zheng Feng was a little surprised when he heard the news. Since Shui Jingru has also come here, indeed, she has also been admitted to a school in the southwest. Calculating the time, school is probably about to start. Ruined. Doesn't that mean my mother is coming here too? I have to get out of the hospital quickly. It would be bad if my mother finds out. Fortunately, Zheng Feng didn't feel any discomfort at this time and should be able to leave the hospital soon. Sure enough, it was just like what Shui Tianyuan said just now. Half an hour later, Shui Jingru opened the door and walked in. Shui Jingru was also extremely happy when she saw Zheng Feng waking up in bed. You're awake. I was worried to death after I found out you were injured. Tell me, you do the same. You are a new student. Can't you let the old students do such dangerous things? Shui Jingru said as she sat down next to Zheng Feng. I said, Monitor, we have graduated and you still want to teach me a lesson. Hearing the familiar tone, Zheng Feng also smiled. However, I have to say that without that Shui Jingru for so long, this girl seems to have become a little more beautiful. When I was in high school, I actually wore school uniforms most of the time. Shui Jingru was wearing casual clothes, which Zheng Feng had never seen before. Looking at Shui Jingru sitting next to him at the moment, Zheng Feng's eyes subconsciously looked towards a certain part. Shui Jingru's figure is still very good. It seems that she should at least have AC, right? Zheng Feng, what are you looking at? Shui Jingru also noticed Zheng Feng's gaze, and immediately turned away shyly. This time Zheng Feng realized that his vision was not very good. He coughed dryly and quickly turned his gaze away. Well, don't get me wrong, I just woke up and my head turned around for a while. I just keep staring at one place, sorry. The atmosphere instantly became a little awkward. Zheng Feng, I told you, don't bully my sister. What are you doing? Suddenly, Shui Tianyuan's head popped out from the ceiling. Zheng Feng and Shui Jingru were immediately startled. Shui Jingru was really frightened. As for Zheng Feng, he had a guilty conscience and did not dare to reply. Oh, brother, what are you doing? He didn't bully me. You misunderstood. It's just that I misunderstood. By the way, Zheng Feng, Teacher Chen just sent a message. He knows you are awake and will come over later. Sister, just stay here. You've seen Mr. Chen before, it's okay. Shui Jingru had already stood up, but after hearing her elder brother's words, she sat down again. Shui Jingru is still very convinced of her elder brother, so basically she won't have any objections to anything he says. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, Chen Gang walked in with a man. Zheng Feng looked at the man following Chen Gang and immediately recognized him. It's you. It's me. No, it's not the second time you've seen me. The man following Chen Gang was naturally the man Zheng Feng saw in the White World at that time who claimed to be number one. You are so lucky, boy. Chen Gang said with a straight face at this time. But it's also because of you and Shui Tianyuan that a crisis was avoided when the new students started school in half a month. The academy is still prepared to reward you. Tell me, what do you want? Shui Tianyuan did not answer. He doesn't really want anything. The only thing I wanted was to study in this academy, and that was already done. On the contrary, Zheng Feng also spoke immediately after listening to Chen Gang's words. Is there a mission that specifically hunts ferocious beasts? If so, I would like to take on a few more at one time. Faced with Zheng Feng's request, everyone present was stunned. I'm just wondering why you are so strong. So you practice so hard, I admire you. The man following Chen Gang admired, and then extended a thumbs up to Zheng Feng. As for Shui Tianyuan, he rolled his eyes. This guy really fell in love with money. Only Zheng Feng himself knew why he wanted this. I still have a full 100 points to upgrade my system. How many ferocious beasts must be killed to collect them in 2 months? Chen Gang didn't say anything, but nodded slightly to express his agreement. Okay, I have other things to do. Someone will come to check you later. There is nothing wrong with the examination. Just pack up and prepare to be discharged. In the end, Zheng Feng stayed in the hospital for 3 more days. Originally, Shui Tianyuan was here to pick up Zheng Feng from the hospital on the 3rd day, but because Chen Gang had something to do, he called him away. In the end, it was Shui Jingru who came to pick him up. But at the entrance of the hospital, he waited and waited, but Shui Jingru didn't come over. Zheng Feng sighed helplessly. Although the hospital is in the city, I have fully recovered now, and I can actually go back on my own. After waiting for another 10 minutes, Shui Jingru still didn't come over. Zheng Feng stepped forward directly, preparing to go back by himself. But just as he was passing by an alley, he saw 3 or 4 wretched men. Someone was being carried into the alley. Glancing curiously, Zheng Feng frowned immediately. Why do the people these guys are carrying look so much like Shui Jingru? Something is wrong. 12 out of 10 things are wrong. Zheng Feng, who originally wanted to go back to school, turned around and followed quietly. The alley stretched out, and the guys put Shui Jingru aside, and one of them said flatteringly to the people around him. Brother, I wonder if this little girl will fall in love with you when she wakes up later. Of course, Laozi's technology is top-notch. For those of you who haven't experienced this kind of girl before, I guarantee you'll fall in love with her after just one try. While talking, the 3 of them laughed extremely obscenely. At this moment, Zheng Feng realized that Shui Jingru had fainted with her eyes closed. As expected, it was probably these guys who did it. Let me tell you, brothers, such a good girl, don't you want to share one with me? After Zheng Feng confirmed the situation, he took a step forward. Where did you come from? Get out of here quickly, my elder brother's elegance has been delayed. If you are forced to do so, I will drive you away. One of them took a step forward and stopped in front of the fat guy called Big Brother. Okay, I'm going. Can't I just leave? Zhang Feng shrugged helplessly, put his hands in his pockets and turned around. But after class, a light flew out of my fingertips instantly. Boom, the explosion sounded instantly. Boy, you are looking for death. Behind him, the guy who just stood up immediately cursed. A turtle appeared in front of him now. Summoning ability user. The summoned object turned out to be a turtle. Zhang Feng turned around again and burst into laughter without holding back. What the hell are you laughing at? Seeing Zhang Feng's expression, the man became even more angry. Second brother, together with third child, teach this guy a lesson. The fat elder brother spoke. In addition, the guy who had been standing aside now took a step forward. A spear appeared out of thin air and fell into his hand. Another summoning ability user, this time he summoned a weapon. Boy, if you kneel down now and kowtow to the three of us a few times and call us grandpa a few times, we will let you go. Why are you talking so much nonsense to him? Come on, teach this guy a lesson. The second child and the third child rushed toward Zhang Feng, one on the left and one on the right. The leader, the boss, slowly took out his mobile phone and took a photo of Zhang Feng. Soon, information about Zhang Feng was displayed. Zhang Feng, an E-level ability user. I thought you were so powerful, but you're actually just an E-level ability user. Be careful when you two strike, don't beat him to death. Zhang Feng frowned slightly. How did that guy know his name and ability level? But for now, he has temporarily put away his curiosity. After all, he still has to deal with the two guys in front of him first. The two seemed to have been cooperating for a long time, and their offense and defense were pretty good. But in the face of absolute power, everything is papery. The eldest brother at the head didn't even look at the battle around him after knowing Zhang Feng's level. He slowly knelt down and gently placed his hands on Shui Jingru's face. Start moving down slowly. Don't touch her. Zhang Feng, who saw this scene, immediately shouted angrily. The two guys who were able to resist a little were immediately kicked away by him. Ouch, I go. The two guys fell directly next to the boss. Quote. The boss turned around and glanced at the guy who was lying on the ground unable to get up, and immediately snorted coldly. An E-level ability user will beat you like this. What two losers. After speaking, he looked towards Zhang Feng. You are an E-level waste, but you also want to be a hero and save a beautiful woman. I'm different from these two guys. If I take action, you will be killed. Of course, the life of a loser like you isn't worth much, so you shouldn't care about it either. Another cold snort. Two breaths, one black and one white, slowly emerged behind him. Soon, the two breaths transformed into two figures respectively. Another summoning system. However, what this guy summoned doesn't seem to be simple. Zhang Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. This guy's strength is almost close to that of the Flame Lord. Blade Storm. More than a dozen sword energy flew towards the greasy man from all directions in an instant. The greasy man did not dodge. The white figure behind him just waved his hand, and the sword energy stagnated in midair in an instant. Sword chi. It's just a joke. What kind of era is this, and you still use this kind of thing? Oh, you are an E-level ability user. Even if you release the ability, it is probably not as lethal as the sword energy. Zhang Feng didn't listen to what this guy was saying at all. His eyes were fixed on the white figure. The ability of this figure, if nothing else, should belong to the category of isolating energy. Since energy is isolated, there is a certain upper limit. Sparkling dots of light began to appear behind Zhang Feng. Hey, is this your ability? What, lighting? Knowing that the guy in front of him was just an E-level ability user, the greasy man didn't take his ability to heart at all. The black figure behind him moved. It was still a simple wave of his hand. 3 jet black feather arrows appeared in his hand instantly. A curved bow, also made of black energy, fell into his hand. He stretched his bow and knocked an arrow, pointing directly at Zhang Feng. Feeling the energy fluctuations coming from the tip of the black feather arrow, Zhang Feng couldn't help but frown. It wasn't because he was afraid of that power. But this guy's strength is not low, so he shouldn't be a gangster on the street. But it was too late to think about it, the black figure had already loosened his fingers. The feather arrow shoots out. A burst of wind sounded. In just a blink of an eye, he was in front of Zheng Feng. Instant elementalization. Zheng Feng originally thought that he had dodged the feather arrow, but he didn't know that after he transformed into an element, the feather arrow actually hovered in front of him. Moreover, the energy fluctuations on it gradually began to accumulate. It seems that as soon as Zheng Feng's elemental transformation ends, this feather arrow will move forward again. He still has this ability. Interesting. But Zheng Feng was not in a hurry to get into elemental form, and instead launched all the 8-foot Magatama behind him. The still white figure moved. But unfortunately, most of the light spots are blocked. But there was still a lot of photoelectric force rushing in. No, since when can attacks from E-level ability users pass through my defense? The greasy man stared at this scene in disbelief with his eyes widened. Soon, the black figure shot out the second feather arrow. This time his target was not Zheng Feng, but the greasy man himself. The feather arrow shot directly into the ground in front of the greasy man, and the light spots that broke through the blockade of the white figure were all detonated before they came into contact with the greasy man. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of explosions was endless. But it didn't cause any harm to the greasy man at all. Just when the smoke and dust caused by the explosion dispersed, Zheng Feng's face suddenly appeared in front of the greasy man. I've got something good for you. Do you want? The elemental Zheng Feng naturally passed through the greasy man's body very clearly. And the feather arrows that follow closely will not turn. Seeing the arrows flying straight towards him, the greasy man had no choice but to direct the black figure behind him to shoot the last arrow. The two feather arrows collided with each other and destroyed each other. At this point, all the feather arrows in the black figure's hand disappeared. And the black figure also disappeared together with it. Only the white figure was still floating on the greasy man. However, it is obvious that its figure is a bit more transparent compared to the beginning. Do you really only have E-level? The greasy man turned around and glanced at the elementalized Zheng Feng in disbelief. Of course, didn't you use that thing to find my information? This little girl is yours, I'm sorry. I'm leaving now. The white figure disappeared instantly, and the pale-faced greasy man turned to leave. But Zheng Feng I, who had released his elementalization, blocked him directly. Did you touch her face just now? You can leave if you want, just keep that hand. Upon hearing Zheng Feng's request, the greasy man's expression suddenly changed. Haven't you ever heard the saying, you have to be merciful and merciful? But I gave you a chance before and asked you to get out. If you don't cherish it, who is to blame? Zheng Feng pretended to be innocent and glanced at the greasy man. Do you know who I am? If you dare to take one of my hands, you will never get out of this city alive. Remember, I'm not joking with you anymore. The greasy man also said coldly at this moment. Oh, I'm so scared. Come on, tell me who you are, and see if you can scare me to death. I am the youngest son of the lord of this city. If you dare to touch me, my father will ensure that you die intact. Ah, the city lord's youngest son, so what? Sorry, this thing doesn't work in front of me. Seeing Zheng Feng's face with murderous intent at this moment, the greasy man was really panicked. Almost instantly, he took out a token from his pocket and smashed it on the ground. When Zheng Feng saw this scene, he secretly said something bad. But it was too late. Just as he was about to take action, he was blown aside by a strong wind. The next moment, a man in his 30s, dressed in black, appeared next to the greasy man. Dad, this guy said he wanted one of my hands. I even said you were the city lord, but he still said it wouldn't work in front of him. When he saw the visitor, the greasy man immediately pretended to be aggrieved and said something. Boy, who are you? How dare you ask for my son's hands? The man in black who came over gave Zheng Feng a fierce look. A killing intent instantly filled the entire alley. Behind this man, a black figure appeared instantly. The appearance is blurry, but the figure is extremely clear. In his hand was a long knife. Zheng Feng only felt that the temperature around him was dropping rapidly. It's over, I've got some serious trouble this time. The pressure brought by the black shadow summoned by this guy alone is already comparable to that of a ferocious beast in the early 9th level. Lao Guan, why are you so angry? Can't you talk about some things? Just when Zhang Feng was almost out of breath due to the pressure, a familiar voice fell in front of him. Also appearing together was the man who claimed to be number 1. The man knelt down next to Zhang Feng and gently touched his eyebrows with his hands. The previous terrifying pressure dissipated instantly. Chen Gang, what do you mean? Supporting an outsider. The city lord known as Lao Guan looked at Chen Gang with some confusion. He still knew very well what Chen Gang was like. Lao Guan, this guy is the person I was talking to you about today. Your son is also lucky. Think about it, how many sons can you fill up that big hole that appears outside our academy? There must be some misunderstanding about this matter, don't you think? The city lord frowned slightly. He turned around and looked at his youngest son, who was already sweating. Then he saw Shui Jingru lying on the ground next to him. In an instant, he knew exactly what was going on. I don't let you go out and play around, so you found a place like this. Why, are you still planning to use something strong? Snapped. Just a slap. Before the greasy man could react, he was slapped until he vomited blood. Even Zhang Feng, who had lost all pressure at this time, couldn't help but feel his heart tremble when he saw this scene. This city lord is really cruel. My own son can also be beaten like this. Little brother, I'm sorry, it seems I misunderstood. My little son was spoiled by me. I apologize to you for what happened just now. But at this moment, Zhang Feng took a step forward. I'm not the one you should apologize to. But her. Zhang Feng pointed at Shui Jingru who was lying on the side. The city lord was stunned for a moment, and then laughed. Chen Gang, where did you get your shitty luck? After saying that, he squatted down next to Shui Jingru, and gently touched Shui Jingru's face with his hands. Shui Jingru, who had fallen into a coma, slowly woke up. The first thing Shui Jingru did when she woke up was to check her clothes, and then she saw the greasy man who was slapped by her father and vomited blood. He was lying not far from her. Chapter 51. In an instant, she quickly stood up. He happened to see Zhang Feng standing over there, and without saying a word, he ran over and hugged Zhang Feng. I thought I was doomed this time, woo woo woo. While hugging Zhang Feng, Shui Jingru burst into tears without holding back. Seeing this scene, the city lord immediately raised his leg and kicked his youngest son hard. It's all your fault. Just wait when you go home tonight. Even if your mother stops me, I will let you know how bad my temper is, lousy. Now that both the city lord and Chen Gang have appeared, the matter about the greasy man is naturally over. You go back first, he and I still have some things to deal with. Chen Gang said something to Zhang Feng, and then disappeared with the first fellow city lord. After taking a look at the greasy man on the ground who had fainted, Zhang Feng naturally did not make any move. Taking Shui Jingru, who was frightened, they walked out of the alley. I'll take you back first. Glancing at Shui Jingru beside him, Zhang Feng whispered. At this moment, Shui Jingru was still blushing. After hearing Zhang Feng's proposal, she took the lead and agreed. Shui Jingru's school was about to start, so she naturally moved to the dormitory in advance. On the way over, Zhang Feng hesitated and said one more word to Shui Jingru beside him. You'd better not tell your brother about this. You also know what kind of character he has. The original Zhao Mingsheng just gave him a bad look, and ended up being dragged into doing various things. It's unimaginable if Shui Tianyuan knew what that greasy man did. Even if the other party is the son of the city lord, he probably won't end well. Well, I understand. Shui Jingru's voice was small. Well, I'm really sorry. I was supposed to pick you up from the hospital today. In the end, you came to save me in the end and almost offended the city lord. Shui Jingru naturally knew the identities of everyone in the alley. What's the matter? You were my class president for 3 years in high school. You also take care of me a lot, this is nothing. Shui Jingru didn't know why, but she felt a little unhappy when she heard Zhang Feng said that he only regarded herself as the squad leader. By the way, your cousin seems to have also been admitted to our school. But it seems that her father found someone to arrange for her to come in. Seeing that she was about to go to the university where Shui Jingru was studying, she hurriedly said something. Okay, I get it now. Zhang Feng actually didn't care about Zhao Tingting's affairs. In the blink of an eye, the two of them arrived at the school gate. Okay, I'll send you here, I have to go back. You should pay more attention here. After all, it's not our small city. If something happens and you're worried about telling your brother or that guy does something impulsive, just tell me and I'll help you solve it if I can. Standing at the school gate, Zheng Feng gave Shui Jingru instructions. He naturally didn't plan to go in. Shui Jingru nodded, and just as she was about to enter the school, a car stopped beside them. Hey, isn't this Zheng Feng? The car window was slowly rolled down, and Han Mengyao's voice came out instantly. It turned out that just as Shui Jingru had just said, Zhao Tingting also came to this school to attend classes. It seemed that the three of them had just come here today. Seeing Han Mengyao, Zheng Feng naturally didn't want to pay attention to her family, and turned around to leave. I was wondering why your mother suddenly had money, and you also came here to study. It feels like you are hanging out with the Shui family. You are young and don't learn well, and you just want to eat soft rice. But, boy, soft rice is not so delicious. It's not certain whether the Shui family will recognize you in the end. Han Mengyao saw Zheng Feng turning around and leaving, and immediately said a few harsh words. Zheng Feng's eyes immediately looked at him. Of course, he turned back at this moment because he heard the first sentence said by his aunt. My mother suddenly became rich. What happened? What happened during the month when I was in a coma? What are you looking at? You are said to be a gigolo, isn't it? Miss Shui, you are the same. Why did you choose such a loser and even found a way to bring him here to study? Is it the school with a low ranking? Do you want us to help him get him into this school? My husband knows a lot of people in charge of this school. As long as you ask, Miss Shui, we promise to introduce you. Han Mengyao naturally knew Shui Jingru, and she said something flattering at this moment. No need, Auntie, Zheng Feng and I are not the kind of relationship you think. Also, the school Zheng Feng attends is much better than ours. Auntie, you should not say that. Ah, Miss Shui, you were not deceived by this kid, were you? With his E-level talent, what good school can he go to? Han Mengyao heard what Shui Jingru said at this moment, with a look of disbelief on her face. Then she looked at Zheng Feng with some disdain and shook her head. Zheng Feng, I am not saying anything about you as your aunt. You may have poor talent, but your character cannot be bad. You dare to say anything to pursue Miss Shui. If I were not here today, Miss Shui might have really been deceived by you. I can't let you affect my Tingting's future at that time. Han Mengyao was about to get off the car. Zheng Feng looked at his aunt like a fool. Could she not know anything? It's not surprising. Before filling in the support application, her husband was taught a lesson by Chen Gang, and then she put all her energy on taking care of her husband. It was also because of the relationship that Zhao Tingting did not fill in the application at all, so naturally she didn't know the news that Zheng Feng was admitted in advance. Zheng Feng looked at Zhao Tingting sitting in the back seat with some amusement. At this moment, Zhao Tingting sat in the back seat with her hands clenched tightly. She knew that Zheng Feng was no longer the Zheng Feng she knew before, but she never had the courage to say it. So now it has led to this situation. Looking at Han Mengyao who had already gotten off the car, Zheng Feng also sneered. Auntie, don't make random guesses. Miss Shui has made it so clear. Do you think I'm the same as you? In order to climb up, I can even sacrifice my own daughter. Why, you haven't found the big guy you were looking for yet, and you haven't successfully sent me, my cousin, to his bed. Hearing Zheng Feng's words at this moment, Han Mengyao, who was still looking proud at first, suddenly turned pale. Are you talking nonsense? Believe it or not, I will tear your mouth out right now. Zhao Zongyi also stepped out from the other side of the car at this moment. Zheng Feng, you are considered an adult now. You must know that your words are not nonsense. Last time, Chen Gang came forward for you for the sake of the principal of your middle school. You'd better take back what you just said, otherwise, you won't be so lucky today. Looking at his aunt and uncle in front of him, Zheng Feng smiled indifferently. Why, you are all adults, why do you still dare to do some things but not admit it? Am I right? As he spoke, Zheng Feng even lightly knocked on Zhao Tingting's car window. Cousin, please stand up and say something. Am I not telling the truth? Or, in fact, you also think so? As long as you can climb up to the big boss, is it really okay to sacrifice your own body? Zhao Tingting, who was sitting in the car, was trembling all over now. Naturally, she clearly remembered how embarrassed she was after knowing the truth after she did what she did after the martial arts exam. To this day, sometimes when I dream at night, I can still dream about the situation at that time. This has almost become a problem for her. I thought I could start my life over again by changing places. Unexpectedly, on the first day, I met the instigator Zheng Feng. "What are you doing? What are you doing over there?" Zhao Zongyi parked his car directly in front of the school, which naturally attracted the attention of the school security guards. 3 security guards came here together. After seeing clearly Zhao Zongyi standing next to the car, the attitude of the 3 people suddenly became friendly. "It turns out to be you, Mr. Zhao. I wonder what you have to do here. Would you like me to help you solve your trouble?" The 3 security guards trotted all the way to Zhao Zongyi's side, their faces full of flattery. One of Zhao Zongyi's former friends is now the director of this university. Because of his work, he would come here from time to time. Naturally, some people in the school knew him. Zhao Tingting was able to come in without filling out any application form, and it was actually because of the director's help. "It's okay. I happened to meet my nephew here. Let's teach him a lesson. After the lesson is over, I will leave naturally without hindering your work." When the 3 people heard Zhao Zongyi's words, they also took a brief look at Zheng Feng's appearance. Since they are Zhao Zongyi's nephew, they are a family after all, and they can easily say hello if they meet in the future. "Old Zhao, people are so kind to help you, why do you refuse? Come on, you 3, teach this boy a lesson. Just don't beat him to death, let this kid have a bad mouth." The 3 security guards suddenly froze on the spot. Isn't this a family? This. Their eyes also instantly looked towards Zhao Zongyi. At this time, Zhao Zongyi also nodded slightly and glanced at the 3 of them. Although the 3 of them were not very clear, they still walked towards Zheng Feng bravely. Zheng Feng looked at the 3 security guards with squinted eyes. The strength is still average, not impressive enough. Just when she was about to take action, another voice rang. "Jingru, I asked you why you didn't come with me and you had to come here in advance. Is he this kid? Your brother told me everything. Don't you look very handsome?" "That's right, handsome people usually put more thought into it." The 3 security guards who were about to take action immediately stood still and did not dare to move after seeing the person speaking. "Aunt, I originally thought that when Shui Jingru was still thinking about how to resolve this conflict, she would have exclaimed." A woman with a somewhat similar face to Shui Jingru walked over slowly. "Vice Principal Shui." The 3 security guards immediately shouted respectfully after the woman walked in. The woman nodded towards the 3 of them and walked straight to Shui Jingru. "What are you doing with all the excitement here? Mr. Zhao, this is the school gate. Isn't it a bit against the rules for you to ask the school security to teach you a lesson?" Although she had just arrived here, she had naturally heard a little bit about what had just happened. Vice Principal Shui was joking. "It's just that this kid likes to talk nonsense. If he continues like this, he will get into big trouble sooner or later. Since you said so, Vice Principal Shui, let's just forget about this matter today." Zhao Zongyi also knew that it was better for him to be polite in front of the vice principal. Most of his company's business is in cooperation with these universities. If he offends the leader of one of the universities, other universities may follow suit and abandon the product he has. In that case, let's all disperse. Zheng Feng, right, don't go back for now. Tianyuan will come over later. You can go back together then. You haven't eaten yet, let's go, I'll be the host today. Vice Principal Shui did not ignore what Zhao Zongyi just said and said something to Zheng Feng. Zheng Feng, who was not planning to stay here for much longer, heard that Shui Tianyuan was coming later, so he simply agreed. Seeing the 3 people leaving, Zhao Zongyi and his family did not stay at the school gate any longer. This kid is really lucky. Chen Gang showed up before, and this time the Shui family showed up. It's too difficult to teach this kid a lesson. Han Mengyao sat in the car and said something dissatisfied. "No hurries, isn't your sister coming here too? Then of course there will be a way to get this kid out alone. My work over there has been handed over, and I will come to work in the company here tomorrow. Are you still worried about not finding the opportunity?" Zhao Zongyi also sneered. Zhao Tingting, who was sitting in the back seat, pursed her lips as if she wanted to say something. But when she thought about saying such embarrassing things, she didn't have the courage. In the end, he still chose silence. Zheng Feng, who left with Aunt Shui Jingru, now understood why Han Mengyao said that her mother was suddenly rich. It turned out that Shui Tianyuan followed the previous agreement when he was unconscious. I sent back the 5,000 Daxia coins from the mission I received earlier to my mother. That kid didn't even tell me, really. Soon, Shui Tianyuan also arrived. Seeing Zheng Feng here, he was stunned for a moment, and then he remembered that it was his sister who picked him up from the hospital today, so he didn't ask any more questions. Tian Yuan, have you heard about the new student from your school who will be sent here this time? Is it you or someone else? Shui Tianyuan just sat down, and as his aunt, Shui Qingshe opened her mouth and asked. Auntie, are you serious? Is this why you called me here? As a nephew, I'm going to be sad. After saying that, Shui Tianyuan still pretended to sigh. Stop pretending to me, you kid, hurry up and tell me, I also need to arrange personnel here, so that we don't lose too badly. Listening to the conversation between Shui Tianyuan and Shui Qingshe, Zheng Feng looked confused. Are there any activities between the Southwest Military Academy and this university? Shui Tianyuan glanced at Zheng Feng. Shui Qingshe understood immediately. This guy is the person your college is planning to send this time. It was originally mine. Didn't I know this guy was awake? I was ready to let him come. Anyway, there are no outsiders now. Auntie, I can guarantee you that this class of freshmen in your school will definitely be the hardest working class. After hearing this, Shui Qingshe naturally looked at Zheng Feng again instantly. Boy, how strong are you? Suddenly, she asked. Zheng Feng, who was confused from the beginning to now, has no idea what is going on. The next moment, the temperature in this room dropped instantly. Shui Tianyuan and Shui Jingru also subconsciously released their abilities to resist the sudden cold. Only Zheng Feng remained motionless. Shui Qingshe frowned, and her release ability increased again. Finally, Zheng Feng's body trembled, and some white frost appeared slightly on his eyebrows. The next moment, he also completed the elementalization immediately. Although it was unclear why Shui Qingshe suddenly attacked him, Zheng Feng did not feel any killing intent and did not rush to attack. After Zheng Feng's elementalization, Shui Qingshe also took back all his abilities. Looking at Zheng Feng, he directly dropped a comment. Monster. Okay, you three can continue chatting here, I'm going to wash up. The battle list that was prepared before will have to be slightly changed. After saying that, Shui Qingshe left first. At this time, Zheng Feng asked Shui Tianyuan curiously. What exactly did you just talk to your aunt about? Why are you still related to me? Shui Tianyuan glanced at Zheng Feng. You've been sleeping for a month, and it's normal for you to be unclear. In fact, our school and their school have an exchange meeting every year when freshmen enter the school, in order to enable the freshmen of their school to practice hard. And every year, the top 3 freshmen from their school can enter our school for further studies. As for what you have to do, it is actually very simple. It is to tell the new students in this school how big the gap between their strength and ours is, so as to urge them to practice. Shui Tianyuan said simply. Is there still such a thing? Yes, Teacher Chen will explain the specific situation to you in detail when the time comes. Calculate the time, it should be 3 days later, you will come here again, and then it will be time for your boy to show his strength. Zheng Feng was actually not happy. On the contrary, I am still a little depressed. How can I have time to take care of these things? I don't know what to do with my upgrade points. Before sitting for a while, Zheng Feng urged Shui Tianyuan to go back quickly. After saying goodbye to Shui Jingru, the two rushed back to school as quickly as possible. Zheng Feng didn't even go back to the dormitory in the end, but went directly to the place where he received the mission. Exactly. The Flame Lord, who was looking for trouble at the time, was also here. Brother, you are here. Come on, you choose the task first. It seemed that the Flame Lord was really convinced before, and when he saw Zheng Feng approaching, he immediately gave up his position. Zheng Feng glanced at him and opened the task list without talking nonsense. After choosing a mission that involved killing many ferocious beasts, Zheng Feng went on the mission overnight. Shui Tianyuan, who who was lying on the window of the dormitory, couldn't help but frown when he saw Zhang Feng leaving the school quickly. Is this guy really that bad of money? That's right. If you want to enter our Shui family, strength alone is not enough. After smiling, Bai Tianyuan turned around and lay on the bed. No one messed up the mission this time, and the execution was much faster than the last time. In just one day, Zhang Feng completed the task. The 100 points owed were upgrade points, and 18 points were repaid in one lump sum. Only 82 o'clock remains. After counting the time, I felt a little relieved. Just after returning to the dormitory, Zhang Fenggang greeted Shui Tianyuan when he heard Shui Tianyuan say that Chen Gang was looking for him. If he rushed to Chen Gang's office immediately. What Chen Gang wanted to tell Zhang Feng was actually very simple. It was what Shui Tianyuan said before. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, don't be late. Also, when the time comes, you will deal with 10 guys at once, so don't use up all your strength as soon as you start. To deal with them, it's best to shorten the time as much as possible and win simply and thoroughly. Did you hear that? Zhang Feng naturally nodded quickly when he heard this instruction. Early the next morning, at 7 o'clock, Zhang Feng was ready to set off from school with Shui Tianyuan. But just when he was about to set off, Zhang Feng received a call. It was his mother Han Mengxin who called. She was said to have been kidnapped, so Zhang Feng could only go there alone. After learning the news, Zhang Feng immediately frowned. After knowing the approximate location, he directly told Shui Tianyuan that he had something to do and wanted to take a step first, and then set off early. Shui Tianyuan looked at Zhang Feng's leaving figure and frowned slightly. According to the location on the phone, Zhang Feng came to an abandoned village. I took a look at the time and saw that there were still 2 hours left before the scheduled 10 o'clock. After dealing with the people here, it should still be too late to rush over. After a brief sense, there were a total of 10 people hiding in this abandoned village. Everyone's energy fluctuations are not very strong, and only 3 of them have slightly higher energy fluctuations. But in Zhang Feng's eyes, it was still not enough. Zhao Zongyi drove towards the university with Han Mengyao in his car. Husband, the person you arranged should be able to do it, right? Aren't you talking nonsense? There are 7 C-level ability users and 3 B-level ability users. Isn't it easy to deal with 1 E-level ability user? Ha ha ha, I can finally teach that boy a lesson. By the way, hubby, do you know who is coming from the Southwest Military Academy to participate in the party this time? Is it the eldest young master of the Shui family? Zhao Zongyi, who was driving, shook his head slightly. According to what I heard, the one who came this time seems to be the strongest new student over there, much stronger than the eldest young master of the Shui family. We have to seize the opportunity this time, and let Tingting prepare well later. Really, she didn't want to say whether she met that big guy last time or not. This time, we have to get to know each other no matter what. On the playground, all the freshmen were sitting around. Regarding the freshman activities between their own school and the Southwest Military Academy, they naturally became the content of discussion among the freshmen. Have you heard? The new students sent by our school this time seem to be among the 1,150 on the previous martial arts examination rankings. What's the use? The Southwest Military Academy probably sends out the top 10 scary guys. I want to say that the top 10 is useless. I don't believe it in a wheel-to-wheel battle. You can't win against that guy. I heard that the guy from Southwest Military Academy lost in the 9th round last year, and I guess it will be similar this year. At the Southwest Military Academy, Shui Tianyuan was also sitting with some freshmen and a few old students from last year. Hearing the discussion coming from all around, Zhao Pei couldn't help but look a little embarrassed. He was the one who came to participate in the freshman activities last year. The wheel battle was really difficult. At the end of the fight, he really had no energy at all, but his record of defeating 8 people in a row was strong enough. Why hasn't Zhang Feng come yet? Zhang Xin looked at the time and saw that it would be king point in 20 minutes. Shui Tianyuan, did you see Zhang Feng leaving school before? He asked Shui Tianyuan beside him. Shui Tianyuan naturally nodded. He was also very curious at this time as to what Zhang Feng was going to do. He had obviously set off before him, but why hadn't he seen anyone yet? In the spectator seats at the front of the playground, Chen Gang and Shui Qingshe were also sitting together. Teacher Chen has harvested several good seedlings this year. Teacher Shui, what you said is that you have a lot of good seedlings this year, don't you? But I still can't compare to you, Teacher Chen. As long as these 10 little guys in my hands can persist until the end, I will be satisfied. Chen Gang smiled slightly and said nothing. At this time, a staff member ran to the two of them and whispered, "What? It's not here yet." When Chen Gang heard what the staff member was reporting at this moment, he immediately frowned tightly. The 10 freshmen here are ready, but Zheng Feng on his side has not yet appeared. What did this kid do? I told him last night that I told him not to be late at 10 o'clock today. Chen Gang was a little angry. This is a big event, with so many people watching. Even the relevant battle videos will be sent to the deans of the two colleges. As a result, this kid Zheng Feng hasn't arrived yet. In an abandoned village, Zheng Feng gasped and looked at the guys who fell at his feet. Although the difference in strength is too large, a lot of effort was still wasted. "Mom, I'm here, don't be afraid." Taking a deep breath, Zheng Feng walked towards a certain house in this abandoned village. In the room, Han Mengxin's hands and feet were tied up with hemp ropes, and her mouth was. Something similar to a towel was stuffed inside. Zheng Feng stepped forward and quickly helped his mother untie her restraints. "Mom, what on earth is going on?" Zheng Feng also frowned and asked as he helped his mother out of the room. "It's all your aunt." Han Mengxin sighed deeply. "I came here in the afternoon yesterday. Didn't the person who took you away arrange a job for me? You guys are about to start school, so I came over quickly to get ready for work. I was worried that you were busy, so I didn't contact you directly. After I got here, your aunt called me. She was also here. She said she wanted to treat me to dinner and apologize for what she had done before. At that time, I thought what she said was true, so I went over and it turned out." Speaking of this, Han Menglin also rubbed his eyes. It can be seen that she was really hurt by her sister this time. When Zheng Feng heard this, he immediately understood what Han Mengyao was going to do. She probably wanted to use her mother as bait to teach herself a lesson from these guys who were lying on the ground and had fainted. "Mom, I'll take you back to college first. Let's go find her later to settle the score," Zheng Feng also said coldly. After sending his mother back to the academy, Zheng Feng looked at the time and saw that there were only 25 minutes left before the event started. At normal driving speed, it would definitely be too late. There was no other way. Zheng Feng, who rushed out of the school, directly activated elementalization. The speed soared to the fastest speed in an instant. On the playground, Chen Gang, who still didn't see Zheng Feng, called Shui Tianyuan directly. "You said he set off before you. What about others? Why haven't they arrived here yet? Hurry up and contact him. If you are still late at this time today, it will be a disgrace to our Southwest Military Academy." Chen Gang was on the verge of getting angry at this time. "Principal Chen, if it really doesn't work, do you want me to postpone the start of the event? After all, the most important thing now is to find where that kid is." Shui Qingshe, who was nearby, naturally understood what had happened, and at this moment he also proposed a solution. "Need not. How can the agreed time be changed at will? Especially in front of so many freshmen?" Chen Gang said angrily. "It's finally time, and that guy hasn't arrived yet. Shui Tianyuan, come on. There shouldn't be much difference in strength between you and Zheng Feng, whether it's you or him." Shui Tianyuan actually didn't really want to participate in such a thing from the bottom of his heart, but as a result it seems that Wen has no choice but to participate. There are 5 minutes left before the event starts. Zhao Zongyi and his wife also rushed here and successfully merged with Zhao Tingting. "Tingting, did the person who left the Southwest Military Academy show up?" As soon as she sat down, Han Mengyao looked around. "Is that the one?" Naturally, she saw Chen Gang's figure on the playground, and Shui Tianyuan standing next to Chen Gang. "No, isn't that the eldest young master of the Shui family? Is he the one who will play this time? It's not bad to be the eldest young master of the Shui family. Although his strength may be a little bit inferior, the Shui family is a big family after all, so he's not bad at all." Zhao Tingting naturally ignored what her mother said at the moment. Even if she were really allowed to approach Shui Tianyuan, it would probably only lead to embarrassment. "Time is up," Shui Qingxie said something. The first freshman who left the station has already stood on the trial site placed on the playground. Come on. Chen Gang said something to Shui Tianyuan. Shui Tianyuan was about to walk up bravely, but suddenly he looked up. It was like a shooting star passing by. Zheng Feng released his elementalization directly in the air, and his whole body was exposed on the trial field. Was that a shooting star just now? How can meteors appear during the day? Do you want to check your eyes? It's true. Hey, look, is the guy on the trial field the one sent from the Southwest Military Academy? When did he show up? People around him naturally started talking about Zheng Feng's sudden appearance. The two people standing on the trial field at this moment. The freshman didn't expect that his opponent fell directly from the sky. Zheng Feng, on the other hand, was panting heavily. Zheng Feng raised his head at this moment, and almost instantly, he found Zhao Zongyi and Han Mengyao in the crowd. Staring at them intently, Zhao Zongyi and Han Mengyao were all smiling and ready to watch the next competition. By the way, help the daughter around you find a better partner. But at this moment, they also saw Zheng Feng appearing on the stage. No, husband, didn't you say that the people you were looking for could give that boy a good lesson? Why is he still here now? Zhao Zongyi was also very confused at this moment. There is obviously nothing wrong with my plan. It's okay. Even if he escaped by luck, he ended up at the trial venue for the competition. The leaders of the two schools will not let him go, especially at such an important moment. He is completely embarrassing the two schools. We won't even need to take action at that time. He will be finished. Zhao Zongyi analyzed it calmly. But what surprised him was, after Zheng Feng appeared on the trial ground, Shui Qingxie, as the general person in charge, actually directly announced the start of the event. No, husband, why is it different from what you said? No, this is absolutely impossible. How can a person with an E-level talent represent the Southwest Military Academy? They must be standing in the wrong position. The one opposite him is from the Southwest Military Academy. Zhao Zongyi and Han Mengyao can't find a better explanation now. Zhao Tingting looked at Zheng Feng, who appeared on the trial site. Some emotions in her eyes flickered. On the trial site, there was a sound of clear snow. The guy opposite Zheng Feng immediately unleashed his abilities. One vine after another emerged from the ground. But at this moment, Zheng Feng didn't want to waste any time at all. Just rescuing his mother before and rushing here consumed too much of his physical strength. This event also involves dealing with 10 people in a row. He must fight quickly. The vines growing up from the ground were cut off by the sword energy that appeared next to Zheng Feng almost as soon as they appeared. Zheng Feng also disappeared on the spot strangely, and appeared in front of the new student the next second. With just one kick, the new student was kicked directly off the trial field. Next, Zheng Feng shouted indifferently. There was silence all around. How long did it take him to defeat the first person? Less than a minute, probably only a dozen seconds. It's an exaggeration. It's really an exaggeration. Is this the freshman ranked highest in West Blue Military Academy this year? The gap is too big. Monster, this guy can only be described as a monster. All the freshmen were caught in the shock just now. At this time, the second challenger stood up. He had naturally seen the battle in front of him. Standing in front of Zheng Feng at this moment, he was already sweating all over his body. His legs could not help but tremble slightly. Are you ready? When I'm ready, I'm going to start. Zheng Feng asked this person. After seeing him nod, Zheng Feng opened the way with his sword energy again. That guy didn't even fully release his abilities before he was kicked out by Zheng Feng. Is this faster? This guy is here to speedrun, right? Fortunately, I was chosen to be this guy's opponent, otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been able to get in front of him. While talking, the third challenger has already gone up. Based on the previous lesson, people directly release their own abilities before going up. A cloud of mist surrounded his body. His own body is also looming in it. Even if more than a dozen sword energy passed through, it did not cause much damage to this guy. It's just that the weapon dissipated slightly. This ability is somewhat interesting. The next moment, countless mist centered on this guy and enveloped the entire training ground. No one can see clearly what the next battle will be like at this moment. Suddenly, Shui Qingxie and Chen Gang moved together. Two people, one on the left and one on the right. Countless sword energy flew directly out of the white mist and flew towards the surrounding auditorium. Fortunately, Shui Qingshe and Chen Gang took action together to block all the flying sword energy. Otherwise, I am afraid that the freshmen and some parents watching the game will suffer. Chen Gang frowned slightly at this moment. Something is very wrong with Zheng Feng. Normally, he would never have made such an attack without even considering his surroundings. What on earth is he doing? Is it really for speedrunning? After countless sword energy flew out, the white mist dissipated instantly. The third challenger also revealed himself. He looked a little miserable at the moment, with scars all over his body. Especially at this moment, Zheng Feng was holding a sword under his neck. As soon as Zheng Feng lets go, the sword energy will directly pierce his throat. I lost. Although the freshman was helpless, he still had to say this in the end. In less than 3 minutes, 3 people had been defeated, and all the freshmen around him took a breath. Even at this time, Chen Gang asked Shui Qingshe, "Do you want me to ask this kid to slow down a little?" Shui Qingshe shook her head directly. "No need, this is the result I want." In the stands, Han Mengyao was already sweating. "Husband, is this guy really the Zheng Feng we know? How did he do it?" Zhao Zongyi's face was also extremely solemn at this moment. He finally understood why the guys he found couldn't stop Zheng Feng. Sure enough, Zheng Feng's strength was much stronger than they thought. This kid never used his abilities from the beginning to the end. He is completely using his physical strength. I have to say that this kid is quite capable. Go on and look down. You can't fight 10 with physical strength alone. In the trial area on the playground, the student who was taking the 4th challenge also stood in front of Zheng Feng. Although the previous battles had made him feel how powerful Zheng Feng was, he could not give up under the gaze of everyone. When he entered the training ground, he took a deep breath and fully unleashed his abilities. 2 wolves appeared next to him in an instant. One black and one white. After the 2 wolves appeared, they immediately rushed towards Zheng Feng. Zheng Feng swung his sword energy again, but the 2 wolves easily dodged it and were in front of him in an instant. The 2 wolves opened their mouths wide and aimed at their arms, ready to bite them. Ouch! Suddenly, 2 shrill voices sounded instantly. Before the 2 wolves touched Zheng Feng's arm, one of them was punched away by Zheng Feng. The other one was naturally not much better and was kicked away by Zheng Feng. It landed directly on the outskirts of the trial ground. Seeing that his 2 summons were dealt with in this way, the freshman standing in front of Zheng Feng suddenly started to shake his legs. The 2 wolves of my own cooperate with each other, but they are comparable to the 3rd level ferocious beasts. Even the other party's abilities were not forced out, and the other party had already solved it. Summoning ability users naturally have no other options after the summoned creatures are defeated. Almost as soon as Zheng Feng looked towards this guy, he ran directly down. Next, Zheng Feng glanced around and said coldly. Finally, his eyes were fixed directly on Han Mengyao and his wife. "Husband, why do I feel something is wrong? This kid has killed 4 in a row. Is this kid really that strong?" Han Mengyao sounded a little panicked at this moment. Zhao Zongyi was not as calm as before, he frowned tightly. Zheng Feng's performance today was enough to shock him. So young, so strong, he even defeated 4 people in a row without showing his ability. Doesn't this explain anything? Chen Gang definitely didn't take action because of the middle school principal's face. He must have known this kid's terrifying strength for a long time. No, I have to find a way to ease the relationship with this guy. If he was still just an E-level ability user, it would be easy to handle. But to be able to get to this point with only an E-level talent is terrifying. While Zhao Zongyi was thinking, Zheng Feng had defeated 2 people in succession again. The time spent before and after was only 10 minutes. Of the 10 challengers originally prepared, now only the last 4 are left. In the surrounding auditorium, all the freshmen were excited. It's too strong. How did this guy practice? Haven't you noticed yet? This guy hasn't shown his abilities until now. If his abilities are released, the speed will probably be even faster. Is this the strength of the Southwest Military Academy? No, I have to seize the time to practice and strive to become one of the 3 people who will go there to study this year. The enthusiasm of all the freshmen on the field was mobilized. Shui Qingshe and Chen Gang were sitting here, and naturally they heard the conversations of those students. It seems that the future prospects of this year's freshmen in your school will not be too bad. Chen Gang said something. Shui Qingshe glanced at him immediately. What Teacher Chen said, no matter how promising the students in our school are, they cannot be better than your school. Just one Zheng Feng will probably suppress these guys for the rest of his life. Chen Gang naturally smiled openly at this. Speaking of which, I'm very curious. There are 4 freshmen left. Who will be able to bring out this guy's abilities? Shui Qingshui's eyes fell on Zheng Feng again. I guess it will be soon. Chen Gang said vaguely. Shui Qingshe ignored Chen Gang's answer at this moment, and her eyes fell on Zheng Feng again. While the two were talking, there were only 2 people left to challenge. The students of Southwest Military Academy. Zhao Pei swallowed. He came to participate in this event last year. At that time, he spent a lot of time dealing with 10 challengers. From start to finish, even without the complete battle, it took almost an hour and a half. Zheng Feng didn't even use it for half an hour. It's really an exaggeration. Zheng Xin sat on the edge, looked at Zheng Feng's back, and said helplessly. It seems that we have to continue to practice hard. This guy is stronger than the last time we fought. He is even more terrifying when fighting. Third brother, tell me, if you fight this kid again now, can you beat him? Zheng Xin said, and also asked the third child sitting next to him. The third child shook his head. Maybe I could beat him before, but now, I guess I can only draw. While talking, Quan San was naturally a little unhappy. Last time, it was clear that he was about to win, but Chen Gang showed up and abruptly deprived himself of perhaps his only chance to win. On the trial ground, the penultimate challenger has already stepped onto the trial ground. He looked at Zheng Feng and waved his hands slightly in front of him. A stream of transparent air slowly appeared. Zheng Feng frowned slightly. He could feel that this guy's ability was similar to his own vitality bomb. Damage can be accumulated continuously. In an instant, Zheng Feng moved. The man who discovered Zheng Feng's actions suddenly turned transparent and disappeared from the ring. In Zheng Feng's perception, the guy who just disappeared seemed to exist anywhere in this trial at this moment. There is absolutely no way to directly locate this guy. It's a bit difficult to handle. Zheng Feng bit his back molars. Naturally, this battle became the one where Zheng Feng spent the most time from accepting the challenge to his current position. All go, 3 minutes have passed, and our side hasn't lost yet. It looks like we have a chance to defeat this monster. Even if we can't defeat it, we still have to force out this guy's ability. A group of freshmen are watching the situation on the trial field at this moment. Zheng Feng was also frowning tightly at this moment. He couldn't lock on that guy, but that guy's attack had already been locked on him early. Coming. With a murmur, a huge wind blade appeared behind Zheng Feng and stabbed straight into his chest. Everyone looked expectantly at the wind blade that appeared at this time. Just when the wind blade was about to pierce Zheng Feng's body suddenly turned into a piece of light shining with yellow light. The wind blade directly penetrated the training ground on the ground from the ground where Zheng Feng originally stood. It even sank directly into the ground about 3 meters. Chen Gang and Shui Qingshui's expressions suddenly changed. If Zheng Feng had not used elementalization in time just now, then this wind blade would have directly killed Zheng Feng. The new student who came up to challenge came with murderous intent. What is going on? I need you to give me an explanation. 5.7. Chen Gang immediately asked Shui Qingshe angrily. If Shui Qingshe frowned tightly at this moment, she had personally selected these 10 people. And last night, she repeatedly told them not to have murderous intentions no matter what the final result was. But right now, the guy on the trial field obviously didn't abide by this rule. The elemental Zheng Feng, if he glanced at Shui Weiwei. Shui Tianyuan instantly understood what Zheng Feng meant. In an instant, Shui Tianyuan pointed to a place on the trial ground and said to Zheng Feng. Over there. Almost instantly, thousands of shining points of light lit up behind Zheng Feng. Following the direction of Zheng Feng's finger, these thousands of light spots instantly bombarded in that direction. The person who originally disappeared in the trial field had to reveal himself under the bombardment of those light spots. What do you mean? Get help off-site. The freshmen around naturally heard what Shui Tianyuan just shouted to Zheng Feng. Naturally, it was determined that Zheng Feng was seeking help from the sidelines. After the new student reappeared, Shui Qingshe stood up with a solemn expression. Just as he was about to go over there, Chen Gang stopped him. Leave it to Zheng Feng, it really won't work. When the time comes, you and I will take action. Shui Qingshe frowned and glanced at Chen Gang. But after seeing the extremely confident look on Chen Gang's face, she sat back again. Who are you? Zheng Feng stared at the guy who reappeared in front of him and asked coldly. There was something familiar about the guy's attack on me just now. Facing Zheng Feng's inquiry, the man instantly sneered. It's a pity. It's just a little bit short of me being able to avenge the young master. As he said that, the man stretched out his hand and tore off the mask on his face. A somewhat weathered face was revealed. Listening to what the other party said at this time, Zheng Feng frowned slightly and also asked. Are you from Sakura Flower Country? The freshmen around him were stunned when they saw the appearance under the skin of that person. No, isn't this challenge only for freshmen? Who is this person? Why haven't I seen him in school? Did you notice that the tone of the guy's words just now was a little off? He sounded like someone from Sakura Wag Woli. Zhao Zongyi looked at the guy who appeared in front of Zheng Feng. An idea suddenly appeared in his mind. It would be great if this guy could kill Zheng Feng. The other party was obviously coming for Zheng Feng, and Zheng Feng would definitely die this time. You killed the young master, and the second young master was also seriously injured by you. Do you think you should die? Originally, I wanted to continue hiding my identity, but with such a good opportunity, I naturally wanted to make some contribution to the family. Even if I can't escape from here today, I will still take your head off to avenge the young master. The Sakura Flower Country spy revealed his lineup, said lightly, and then took action again. Madman. Zheng Feng also snorted coldly, and the yellow light spots on his hands instantly went out and hit the guy who was coming towards him. The opponent's figure disappeared instantly. But this time, Zheng Feng had already sat down and prepared. When he just used the 8-foot Magatama towards the place where this guy was hiding, there were a few light spots, but Zheng Feng did not detonate them. Right now it stuck to that guy's back. Relying on the perception of light spots, the yellow light spot in Zheng Feng's hand accurately hit the man's hidden position. That person didn't expect that Zheng Feng would discover his location so quickly. In an instant, those light spots exploded. How did you find out? The man got up from the ground with difficulty, stared at him in disbelief and asked. Zheng Feng naturally did not answer. At this moment, he once again accumulated points of light in his hands. At this time, the man finally became a little panicked. His strongest method was somehow cracked, so the assassination was naturally no longer valid. Without hesitation, he decisively disappeared from everyone's eyes again and rushed high into the sky in an instant. 22. Zheng Feng frowned, as he couldn't throw his light spot that high. Just when he was about to use the vitality bomb to keep the opponent alive, a black cloud instantly condensed above the sky. A black shadow was suspended above the black shadow, and the long knife in his hand was swung directly. Boom! A thunderous sound sounded instantly. The Sakura Flower Country spy who was about to rush out was instantly thrown to the training ground. This road is blocked. The city lord's voice also sounded. The spy who lost his escape route was naturally anxious now. He started directly and tore off all the clothes on his body, revealing his body covered with strange marks. Zheng Feng, stop this guy quickly, he is summoning a beast. Chen Gang instantly discovered what that guy was doing. Shouted eagerly, he is a bit far away from here, and his ability is not the kind that can be directly used with powerful skills. So I can only place my hope on Zheng Feng. Hearing Chen Gang's words to him, Zheng Feng immediately opened his hands. The vitality bullet instantly condensed in his hand. All the freshmen around were shocked when they saw the ball of light appearing in Zheng Feng's hand. What exactly is that? Why is the energy fluctuation inside so strong? Before I came here to go to school, I read the news that there was a huge crater that was bombarded in front of the Southwest Military Academy. Could it be him? After Zhao Zongyi and Han Mengyao saw the vitality bomb appearing in Zheng Feng's hand, they immediately looked at Zhao Tingting beside them. They are familiar with this skill. It was Zhao Tingting who described it to them personally. The big boss in the school used this trick. Zhao Tingting also knew that there was no way to hide it at this moment. He nodded and said, he was the big boss back then. Han Mengyao and Zhao Zongyi immediately took a breath of cold air. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. How could that big guy who appeared in high school be that kid? An ability user with E-level talent. Tingting, are you mistaken? Zhao Zongyi asked again with some worry. Zhao Tingting shook her head slightly, the meaning was obvious. On the trial field, the vitality bomb in Zheng Feng's hand was naturally not condensed to its strongest state. The spy of Sakura Flower Country had all the lines of strange symbols on his body lighting up at this moment. A door slowly appeared in his chest. In an instant, an ancient aura swept over him. Shui Qingshe and Chen Gang have already taken off, preparing for the battle. The city lord also appeared instantly and joined the three of them. This guy actually didn't place a layer of spirit when summoning. The city lord prepared to approach the trial site, but was instantly bounced away. The freshmen and their parents, who were still unclear about what happened, were constantly leaving here under the arrangement of school personnel. But many people still turned back to look at Zheng Feng. Ha ha ha, I'm going to drag you to hell with me. The spy from Sakura Flower Country burst out laughing when he saw a claw extending from his chest. Zheng Feng frowned slightly, and naturally threw the vitality bomb in his hand instantly. Boom, a violent explosion sounded. The guy's body was instantly shattered inside the vitality bomb. But the door on his chest still exists. At this moment, the body of the ferocious beast that originally stretched out its claws has crawled out. S-level ferocious beast, the armored centipede. Chen Gang recognized the ferocious beast that appeared at a glance. No, his breath is not right. Why is it only the late 4th level? Why is the level of the beast summoned by this guy so low? After Chen Gang felt the aura of the ferocious beast, he immediately frowned. A secret agreement has been reached between Sakura Flower Country and the ferocious beast, and the portal can be constructed with the help of mysterious patterns. But the person who builds the portal will die immediately. Moreover, the ferocious beasts coming out of the portal are generally registered at level 7 or above. But right now, the ferocious beast that is about to emerge from the portal is only at level 4. Zheng Feng naturally didn't know what the ferocious beast in front of him was at this time. When he saw him getting out of the portal, he immediately released the 8-foot Magatama. He continued to bombard him, and even countless sword energies followed closely behind him. Boom boom boom. Explosions continued. The ferocious beast had already taken a hit from the vitality bullet, and later suffered such a violent attack from Zheng Feng. His body began to break apart inch by inch. Almost at the same time, Zheng Feng also immediately opened the system panel. My upgrade points have now changed from the original value of -82 to -32. In other words, killing the ferocious beast just now gave you 50 upgrade points at once. Suddenly, Zheng Feng felt a little regretful. If I had known it earlier, why would I accept the mission? Wouldn't it be better to find a few more guys like this and let them summon ferocious beasts? As long as 2 or 3 times, I can probably pay off the upgrade points I owe. However, his face, which had not been happy for a long time, suddenly turned solemn. The portal that was originally opened by Sakura Flower Country's spies was not closed at this time. The moment the aura of the ferocious beast that had just emerged disappeared, a roar came directly from behind the portal. An even more terrifying aura came out of it instantly. I see. The one that just came out should be just a juvenile beast. Originally, the person you summoned should be its father or mother. How long will it take to open this barrier? Chen Gang anxiously asked Shui Qingshe and the city lord who were taking action around him. Immediately. Opened. Zheng Feng was staring at the portal in front of him. He saw a scarlet eye as big as a basketball board. In an instant, the aura suppressed him and he stood there unable to move. The portal, which was originally not very big, was forcibly enlarged after a claw stretched out from the opposite side, reaching as high as 4 or 5 stories. Stand behind me and don't move. Chen Gang dodged and rushed to Zheng Feng. Do it. Following Chen Gang's words, Shui Qingshe and the city lord launched an attack on Chen Gang at the same time without any hesitation. After all the attacks fell on Chen Gang's body began to tremble continuously. It turns out to be a late 8th level guy. Since you want to come over, let me give you something good to eat. Chen Gang, whose face was already red, shouted angrily and punched the guy in the portal. Boom! A violent explosion sounded suddenly. The claw that the ferocious beast stretched out was directly shattered by a punch. Chen Gang's punch even showed vague signs of tearing apart the space. The portal also disappeared directly after taking this punch. Chen Gang was relieved. He said with a serious face to Shui Qingshe and the city lord who were still suspended in the air. It seems necessary to thoroughly check everyone entering the city and our 2 schools. We are here this time. Next time, if we encounter such a crazy guy, it will be too late when the beast comes completely from that direction. Shui Qingshe and the city lord also agreed with livid faces. This time the exchange between the 2 schools can be considered to have ended here. Although Zheng Feng was not able to complete the 1-on-10 achievement in the end, his terrifying speedrunning still left a deep impression on all the freshmen of this school. Deeply shocked, Chen Gang also turned around and glanced at Zheng Feng at this time. When you go back later, you have to explain it clearly to me. I've already told you the time, so why do I have to step on it? Zheng Feng nodded slightly, and then fell straight back. Only Zheng Feng himself knew that this time, he was not going to fight against 10. Instead, it's a 1-on-20 fight. Coupled with the rush, he had completely used up all the energy in his body. When he woke up, he had returned to school. In the dormitory, Zheng Feng, who was sitting on the bed, looked at Shui Tianyuan, who was sitting on the bed reading a book, and whispered. Shui Tianyuan, I want you to do me a favor. Shui Tianyuan, who put down his book, also. I asked with great interest. What's up? After Zheng Feng briefly explained his plan, Shui Tianyuan immediately stood up. My pleasure. But before taking action with Shui Tianyuan, Zheng Feng still had to go to the successful office. Standing outside, before knocking on the door, Zheng Feng heard a quarrel coming from the office. After it gradually became quiet inside, Zheng Feng knocked on the door and walked in. Woke up, tell me, why did you step on it at that time? Chen had just finished arguing with someone, and the look he was looking at Zheng Feng was naturally filled with anger. Zheng Feng didn't hide anything at all, and roughly told what happened to his mother. You mean, your aunt deliberately kidnapped your mother, and then she wanted to teach you a lesson? Tell me the location where your mother was kidnapped. I will deal with this matter. Okay, next time you encounter this matter, the first thing you have to do is to tell the school. Is that clear? Chen Gang was still angry, but he was a little better than at the beginning. Okay, you go back first. The last time you were unconscious, Shui Tianyuan and the others had already started class. I asked Shui Tianyuan to prepare a copy of the courseware for you. You should go back and take a good look at it yourself. Zheng Feng nodded and left the office. Back in his dormitory, Shui Tianyuan, who was sitting on the bed, had just hung up the phone. How are the preparations going? After Zheng Feng came in, he closed the door and asked a question when he came up. 210. Okay, I asked my aunt to come forward. He told us not to go too far and didn't say anything else. The time is 8 o'clock tonight. Zheng Feng nodded. Thanks for your hard work. You kid is still telling me these things now. Isn't it too outrageous? I will rely on you to protect me from now on. This is my gift to repay you for protecting me. Regarding what Shui Tianyuan said at this time, Zheng Feng also smiled helplessly. Later, he also asked Shui Tianyuan for the courseware that he had taken when he was unconscious. After browsing through it roughly, Zheng Feng suddenly lost interest. These things are basically the same as those in high school. They are all theoretical knowledge and have basically zero help in improving the strength. In the blink of an eye, the sky outside gradually darkened. The two of them took a look at the time, set off from school early, and arrived at a hotel in the city. The other side, Han Mengyao was dressing herself up and would run around in front of her husband from time to time. Husband, what do you think of the clothes I'm wearing? Does it look good? Zhao Zongyi looked at Han Mengyao's clothes at this time and nodded absently. He is naturally thinking about other things now. For example, what was the final outcome of what happened in school yesterday? At that time, before Zheng Feng's vitality bomb was blasted out, their family of 3 were arranged to a safe place by the school personnel. What happened next? Those present immediately blocked all news. Whether Zhang Feng is dead or not is what Zhao Zongyi is most worried about right now. During the competition, the terrifying strength Zhang Feng displayed was like a talisman, constantly reminding Zhao Zongyi that he should not have provoked him in the first place. Only if Zhang Feng dies will he stop causing trouble for them. Husband, please call Tingting and ask her to come back early. If the eldest son of the Shui family calls us to dinner tonight, we must dress up. Han Mengyao, who kept looking at her clothes in the mirror, gave instructions. Why did the eldest young master of the Shui family treat us to dinner? Could it be that Zhang Feng asked him to invite you? Zhao Zongyi asked with some confusion at this moment. He was very clear about the relationship between Zhang Feng and Shui Jingru, but as for the relationship with Shui Tianyuan, he was not very clear about it. But it is still very easy for the brother to help his sister do something. Don't worry, this matter has nothing to do with that boy Zhang Feng. Don't you know that Chen Gang took action at the end yesterday? How could that kid survive a battle of that level? When I received the call, I asked Tingting to investigate. That girl Jing didn't know about tonight's dinner. I guess it's the eldest son of the Shui family who has taken a liking to our Tingting. Isn't he looking for an opportunity to meet her? Zhao Zongyi always felt that he was not at ease. Zhao Tingting also came back at this time. As soon as she entered the door, she said directly to Han Mengyao. Mom, why didn't you tell me in advance about dinner tonight? We can't go to this dinner. You silly girl, I'm doing it for your own good, Mom. Hurry up and change your clothes. You dress beautifully, otherwise, how would you capture the heart of the eldest young master of the Shui family? Zhao Tingting was still embarrassed to talk about what happened before, so she had to change her clothes in the end. Even if Shui Tianyuan arranged the dinner tonight, he would not do anything to his parents. After all, his mother is his biological aunt. The family of three quickly went downstairs and drove to the hotel. When they arrived at the hotel, the three of them were quickly taken to an extremely luxurious box by the waiter. Master Shui is already waiting for the three of you inside. Han Mengyao's eyes have been observing the decoration style of this hotel since entering. Husband, tell me, when can we treat guests to a meal in a hotel like this? The life of rich people is good. No, I must order something more tonight. The food made in this hotel will definitely not taste any worse. Saying this, the three of them also entered the box together. In the box, Shui Tianyuan had been sitting there for a long time. When he saw the three people, he stood up. Thank you, uncle and aunt, and Tingting for being able to show your face. After Zhao Zongyi came in, he looked around and felt it. After making sure that there was no second breath of outsiders, he relaxed. It seems that tonight's incident should have nothing to do with Zhang Feng. And Zhao Tingting also saw the iconic smile on Shui Tianyuan's face at this moment, and she will never forget it in this life. When he was humiliated, that guy had this expression now. Everyone, please stop standing. I have already ordered all the dishes, and I promise they will meet your taste. Should I let people serve food now? Shui Tianyuan, who sat down, asked politely. Han Mengyao naturally nodded eagerly. After Shui Tianyuan spoke, the waiters outside also began to serve the dishes for tonight's meal one by one. Looking at the dishes being brought in, Han Mengyao's eyes lit up instantly. The price of these dishes will definitely not be cheap. It seems that the eldest son of the Shui family really cares about your daughter. What do you think? Instantly, she also spoke to Shui Tianyuan who was sitting over there. Come, Master Shui, let me introduce you. This is my daughter. She was in a high school before. I don't know if you have met her before. While speaking, Han Mengyao also moved her body slightly to the side so that Shui Tianyuan could clearly see Zhao Tingting sitting next to her. Shui Tianyuan's eyes naturally fell on Zhao Tingting at this time. Yes, Auntie, your daughter and I have met before. At that time, I also invited your daughter to find a hotel to study in depth, but it turns out that your daughter didn't seem to be willing. Hearing what Shui Tianyuan said at this time, Han Mengyao immediately glared at Zhao Tingting. You girl, how come you don't know how to cherish such a good opportunity? I'm really going to be pissed off by you. After saying that, she looked at Shui Tianyuan flatteringly. Master Shui, that's the bad thing about my daughter, she is too thin-skinned. No, Master Shui, since you have invited us to dinner today, isn't it a coincidence? We won't let this girl go back with us tonight. When the time comes, Master Shui will ask you to take more care of our girl. Before they even started eating, Han Mengyao pushed Zhao Mengting to Shui Tianyuan again. Unexpectedly, after Han Mengyao said this, Shui Tianyuan sighed directly. Oh, you really did make me lose again. When Zhao Tingting heard Shui Tianyuan say these words, her body trembled instinctively. Last time, at the end of the martial arts test, she heard Shui Tianyuan say exactly the same thing as now. The person who bet with him at that time seemed to be Zheng Feng. So who made the bet with him this time? Could it be? Just when Zhao Tingting realized that something was not quite right about tonight's dinner, and was about to stand up, it was already too late. After sighing, Shui Tianyuan shouted to the outside of the box. Come in. As soon as the voice fell, the door of the box was opened. A waiter came in from outside. Master Shui, what's going on at tonight's dinner? Zhao Zongyi also noticed that something was not right, and stood up suddenly and asked Shui Tianyuan. Nothing's going on, it's just that a good brother of mine has something to tell your family. Shui Tianyuan, who said this, also stretched out his hand and pointed at the waiter who just came in from outside. After the waiter came in, he locked the door of the box without saying a word. Then, he took off the hat on his head. It's you. You're not dead yet. How on earth did you survive? Zhao Zongyi looked at Zheng Feng, who was wearing waiter clothes, with some disbelief. Han Mengyao on the side also asked Shui Tianyuan with some disbelief. Master Shui, is that the friend you mentioned? Don't be deceived by him, this kid is a waste. Shut up, I don't want to listen to you. A guy who can push his daughter onto someone else's bed at will has no right to talk to me. Shui Tianyuan glanced at Han Mengyao with some dissatisfaction. Han Mengyao was stunned on the spot for a moment. Zheng Feng did not answer the questions Zhao Zongyi asked him. He walked to the table, pulled out a chair and sat down. Three of you, it's time for us to have a serious talk. I hope you can explain to me about my mother. Of course, just an explanation is not enough. You also have to discuss the price you should pay. Zheng Feng glanced at the family of three in front of him, and his tone was extremely cold. Zhao Zongyi frowned at this moment and did not speak. Zhao Tingting, on the other hand, was a little confused. Zheng Feng, what do you mean? What happened to my aunt? What does it have to do with my family? She asked Zheng Feng directly. Oh, so you don't know. Then you can get out now. Looking at Zhao Tingting, Zheng Feng didn't see any deception in her eyes. It seemed that she really knew everything. Since Zhao Tingting was not involved in the previous incident, Zheng Feng was naturally not prepared to cause trouble for him. Zheng Feng, don't forget your identity. Your aunt and I are your elders. Finally, Zhao Zongyi spoke. Even if we do something, what will happen? Your mother didn't say anything, why are you here gesticulating now? Even if I want to apologize, it's your turn to make irresponsible remarks like a young boy. In an instant, the moment Zhao Zongyi finished speaking these words, Zheng Feng waved his arm directly. Bladestorm. The sword energy swept towards Zhao Zongyi in an instant. Zhao Zongyi frowned tightly, and then waved his hand. In an instant, all the sword energy was knocked aside. Boy, do you really dare to attack me? Okay, let me see how powerful you, this loser, are now. I really regret that I didn't kill your kid directly at the beginning. Zhao Zongyi snorted coldly and directly released his energy. In an instant, the atmosphere in the entire box changed. Feeling the aura blooming from Zhao Zongyi at this moment, Zheng Feng also frowned slightly. I have to say that Zhao Zongyi is still stronger. He is the strongest person compared to the opponents he encountered along the way, except for the 8th level ferocious beast. However, even if you are strong, you may not have no chance at all. Taking a deep breath, Feng was also naturally full of firepower. But Shui Tianyuan, who was sitting over there, took out his mobile phone and started to figure out how much maintenance costs he would have to pay for this hotel after tonight. After 1 hour, Shui Tianyuan and Zheng Feng walked out of the hotel side by side. As soon as he walked out, Zheng Feng whispered to Shui Tianyuan, and the two of them speeded up a lot. After confirming that no one was catching up behind him, he stopped. He held on to the nearest tree and immediately spat out a large mouthful of blood. Sure enough, Zhao Zongyi is still very strong. Even if I succeeded in blowing off one of his arms, I was severely injured and even suffered considerable internal injuries. In the hospital, Zhao Zongyi got into the car with the help of Han Mengyao. I've told you that Shui Tianyuan suddenly invited you to dinner, there must be some purpose. I asked you not to go, but you insisted on going. Are you okay now? One of Zhao Zongyi's arms has disappeared. At this moment, his face is extremely pale, but he is still scolding angrily. Also, you clearly know the relationship between Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan, why didn't you tell me earlier? Why, now I know it's embarrassing and I'm embarrassed to speak out, but what happened? Your dad lost an arm. Not scolding Han Mengyao was not enough, Zhao Zongyi also turned around and scolded Zhao Tingting who was sitting in the back seat. Zhao Tingting lowered her head and still didn't say a word. She never thought that Zheng Feng would be so strong now that he could even hurt his father and escape completely. Don't I know, I will pay attention next time. Who would have known that that kid not only rescued his mother, but also dared to come to us for trouble? Han Mengyao, who was driving, also sighed helplessly. Zhao Zongyi didn't answer, he just leaned on the chair, closed his eyes and began to rest his mind. He had a feeling that this matter would not pass so easily, and the storm was still on the way. Returning to the dormitory, Zheng Feng went to bed early because he suffered internal injuries and fell asleep soon. Seeing Zheng Feng sleeping, Shui Tianyuan walked out of the dormitory alone, took out his phone and called his aunt. Okay, now you actually dare to ask your aunt to do what you want. How courageous are you? Actually, even if you don't come to me, I will take the initiative to do these things. Zheng Feng, I really like him more and more. You should hurry up a little bit. Your sister is still single now. Shui Tianyuan naturally agreed with a smile. Early the next morning, Shui Qingshe directly called one of his directors to his office. Principal Shui, why did you call me here so early? Facing the vice principal, the director was naturally very polite. It's nothing important, Lao Shu. I heard that you just arranged for a student who was not qualified to enter our school privately, right? Hearing what Shui Qingshe asked at this time, Director Shu suddenly broke out in cold sweat on his forehead. Not just a few years, but in the past few years, you have sent in a lot of students one after another. Shui Qingshe ignored Director Shu's situation at the moment and continued to flip through the information placed in front of him. Well, although our school is not a very good school, by letting those people in, didn't you inadvertently lower our school's ranking again? You should also know what kind of temper the principal is. If he knew you had done such a thing, hey. At this time, Director Shu couldn't help but take out his handkerchief and start wiping sweat. Principal Shui, please stop scaring me. Just tell me what you want me to do. As long as I can do it, I won't have any objections. Shui Qingshe then closed the book of information. Actually, there's nothing important. It's just that, Director Shu, there is a position temporarily vacant in the logistics department. Can you see? I'll go. The logistics department is great. In fact, I've wanted to go there for a long time. Director Shu quickly answered the call. Although he was very dissatisfied in his heart, the logistics department, that place was equivalent to leaving the power center of the school, and even the oil and water were maintained until 10 o'clock. But when I think about the principal knowing what I have done, I am afraid that I will disappear from this world. In contrast, he naturally knows how to choose. Ah, very good. I don't care about the other students you recruited. After all, they have already integrated into our school. As for the one you recruited this year, please inform her that she was fired. By the way, her file should have arrived. By the way, please add 10 entries on the file. Director Shu also nodded quickly. Before leaving, he turned around curiously and asked Shui Qingshe, Nuo de how? Principal Shui, may I take the liberty to ask? What happened? Oh, it's nothing. It's just that the students' parents provoked people they shouldn't provoke. You should know that there are some things that should be said and some things that should not be said. Now that Shui Qingshe has said it all, Director Chen is not stupid. He didn't ask further questions and walked out of the office. When Director Shu left, Shui Qingshe was not idle. She took out her mobile phone and dialed a number. Mr. Chin, I haven't contacted you for a long time. Is this the case? Is there a person named Zhao Zongyi in your company? Oh, it's nothing big. It's just that our school and the Southwest Military Academy don't want to see that person continue to stay in your company. Of course, you can ask the principal of our school and the Southwest Military Academy, and you can make a decision then. After doing this, Shui Qingshe also called Shui Tianyuan back. After receiving the call from his aunt, Shui Tianyuan naturally had a smile on his face. Putting down the phone, Zheng Feng saw that he had woken up and was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Zheng Feng, come here, I bet with you twice before, but I lost both times. Now I want to make a bet with you, will you come? Zheng Feng also opened his eyes after hearing Shui Tianyuan's words. He immediately responded with a smile. No, you've lost twice. Do you want to do it again? Okay, I'm afraid of you, what do you want to bet on? Seeing that Zheng Feng took the bait, Tian Yuan immediately said what he had planned for a long time. If I still lose this time, I will be your little brother for the rest of my life. I will do whatever you ask me to do, even if you ask me to give the Shui family to you. But if you lose, you only have to do one thing. I'm worried that my sister will be deceived by other little yellow hairs, so you have to talk to her about love first. Ah, Zheng Feng was naturally surprised when he received the bet. Isn't your bet too big? I can't even think about becoming my younger brother for life. What are you doing? Are you sure that I will lose? Okay, what do you want to bet with me? Within 3 days, Zhao Tingting's family will come crying and begging you to forgive them. Shui Tianyuan smiled. Please forgive me. No, are you okay? Did you lose again last night and lose your brain? Are you really sure you want to bet this with me? Shui Tianyuan nodded firmly. There was no other way, so Zheng Feng had no choice but to agree. Zhao Tingting returned to the dormitory very late last night, so she got up a little late. As soon as she got up, she was anxiously called away by her roommate in the same dormitory, saying that Director Shu was looking for her. Director Shu was her father's friend, so Zhao Tingting naturally didn't think much about it. But after meeting Director Shu, she learned the news that she was actually fired. At first, Director Shu naturally didn't explain clearly why she was fired. But after Zhao Tingting kept asking, Director Shu asked her to go back and think about who she had offended. When leaving Director Shu's office, she was also informed and told to get out of the school quickly. Soon, news of her dismissal will be broadcast. The devastated Zhao Tingting returned to her dormitory without saying a word. Taking advantage of the fact that there was no one in the dormitory, she quickly packed her things and left the school before the radio started playing. After taking a taxi, she went directly back to her father's house in this city. Shouldn't you be at school now? Why are you back? Han Mengyao opened the door and looked at Zhao Tingting standing at the door, and naturally asked in confusion. Then she saw Xing Zheng lying at her feet. Why did you bring everything back? What happened? Finally, Han Mengyao realized something was wrong. Zhao Zongyi, who was lying on the bed to rest, heard the sound at the door and got up and walked out. What? You were expelled from school. Who told you? Director Shu told you personally. As soon as he walked out, Zhao Zongyi heard these contents. I'm worried first, I'll call and ask Lao Xing. Zhao Zongyi signaled the mother and daughter not to worry, and then he took out his phone and prepared to call Director Shu. But after making the call, he discovered that Director Shu had blocked him. Shu actually blocked me. Ting, when he told you that you were fired, did he say it was because of 983? Zhao Zongyi asked with a frown. Director Shu said, let me come back and think about it carefully. Have I offended anyone? Hear Zhao Tingting's answer. Han Mengyao and Zhao Zongyi immediately looked at each other. Is it that boy? Where did he get so much energy that he actually allowed the director to fire Tingting? Han Mengyao naturally didn't believe this. Don't forget, that boy is friends with the young master of the Shui family. The vice principal of Tingting's school is from the Shui family. I guess Shui Tianyuan helped. This kid is really going to piss me off. If you have the ability, come to me. What's the point of attacking Tingting? Han Mengyao immediately said something bitterly. Zhao Zongyi didn't want to pay attention to those things now. He looked at his crying daughter and comforted her. Okay, if you're fired, just fire me. I'll help you contact other friends. Let's see if there is any suitable school that can place you in. With that said, Zhao Zongyi took out his mobile phone again and tried to contact other friends. Lao Ma, help me, I only have this daughter. Okay, I'll wait for you for a moment. What, you can't admit her? Has her expulsion record been updated on her file? Zhao Zongyi's expression finally changed after hearing this. Students like them will be expelled once the words appear on their files. Basically it means that no school will accept it anymore. At this time, Zhao Tingting was standing beside her, so she naturally heard about it. In an instant, her whole vision went dark and she fainted. This brat, Zhao Zongyi said viciously, but before he could say the next words, his phone rang proactively. After taking a look at the name on the caller ID, Zhao Zongyi did not dare to show any lightness. Hey, Mr. Chin, I asked for leave today. You should have received my leave approval slip, right? After answering the phone, Zhao Zongyi also said something very polite. He thought the other party was calling now to ask why he didn't go to work today. But what came out next on the other end of the phone made Zhao Zongyi's entire expression change. Mr. Chin, did you make something wrong? Why did you want to fire me? Even if I have not made any meritorious contributions to the company over the years, I have still worked hard. The mother and daughter standing next to her were also stunned at this time. They never expected that their husband-father would be fired from the company. Okay, I understand, thank you Mr. Chin. Zhao Zongyi hung up the phone and then slammed the phone to the ground. I was fired because of someone else's few words. I would like to see what my achievements are after I am fired. Who will help you with them? What a... Zhao Zongyi yelled a few words angrily. The mother and daughter on the side looked at him at this time, and naturally they didn't dare to speak when they saw him like this. After Zhao Zongyi's anger dissipated a little, Han Mengyao asked him. Husband, what happened? You're fine, why were you fired from the company? Hearing Han Mengyao mention this matter, Zhao Zongyi immediately snorted coldly. It's not all because of your eldest nephew. What? Why does this matter have something to do with Zheng Feng? Where did he get his connections? Even if the eldest son of the Shui family is standing behind the Shui family, there is no way to get his husband fired immediately. Call. Zhao Zongyi breathed a long sigh of relief. It's not the Shui family who came forward to help this time. It was Tingting's previous school and the two principals from the Southwest Military Academy who nodded. Han Mengyao immediately covered her mouth when she heard this reason. How can it be? This is absolutely impossible. What did Zheng Feng do to alert the principals of these two schools? Forget it, I don't have to work in that company. I'll ask the others if there are any other positions. Zhao Zongyi instinctively wanted to take out his mobile phone, but found that his mobile phone had been smashed to the ground. There was no other way, Zhao Zongyi had no choice but to borrow Han Mengyao's mobile phone. After a round of phone calls, everyone who knew Zhao Zongyi chose to reject it after learning about Zhao Zongyi's thoughts. It seems that the principals of the two schools did not only inform the leaders of his current companies. They greeted almost most of the people. It's over, our family is over. Han Mengyao was sitting in the living room, and the events that happened one after another made her collapse. Okay, stop crying, Zhao Zongyi said something impatiently. We are not completely helpless now. Maybe we still have a chance. Then Tingting can go back to school and I can go back to work. Han Mengyao, who was crying over there tomorrow, immediately looked towards Zhao Zongyi when he heard what Zhao Zongyi said at this time. Any solution? Go and ask your sister if there is any way to help us contact that boy. Since we are what we are now because of that boy, then if we want to go back to the past, we have to ask that boy. Zhao Zongyi sighed deeply. If he had known that this would be the case now, he shouldn't have been like that in the first place. But there are so many ifs in this world. We just did that to my sister. Do you think he will still answer my calls now? Han Mengyao felt a little uneasy. After all, the fate of his whole family now depends on whether his phone call can be answered. Try it. Instead of daydreaming here, why don't you call me now? Zhao Zongyi took a deep breath and said. Han Mengyao nodded, took out her cell phone and called her eldest sister Han Mengxin. After a while of ringing, the phone was connected. You know what I do. I'm very busy now and don't have time. CCFE. After saying that, Han Mengxin hung up the phone. From beginning to end, Han Mengyao didn't even say a word. She said she was busy and asked me to call again later. Looking at Zhao Zongyi and Zhao Tingting's extremely expectant eyes, Han Mengyao said helplessly. There was no other way, so the three of them had to sit at home and wait. When it was almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Han Mengyao called again. Tell me, what's the matter? I'll hang up if there's nothing else. Now that Han Mengluan has answered the phone again, Han Mengxin's tone is much more impatient than before. In fact, this cannot be blamed on Han Mengxin, who made Zhao Zongyi and Han Mengyao do such outrageous things last time. Well, eldest sister, we want to meet Zheng Feng. I wonder if you can arrange it. You want to see Zheng Feng? I'm sorry, I won't believe you anymore. Last time you said you wanted to see me, what happened next? If it weren't for the fact that we are sisters, I would never answer the call. You haven't harmed me enough, and now you want to harm my son. After saying that, Han Mengxin hung up the phone decisively. When Han Mengyao just answered the phone, she was on speakerphone. What was said on the other end of the phone was heard by everyone present. Mom, Dad, what should we do next? Zhao Tingting was really panicked now. Now that she is like this, how can she find a man who is much better than herself in the future? Even Zhao Zongyi sighed helplessly at this time. It's over, it's really over now. No, we have another person who can. Suddenly Han Mengyao remembered something and said to the father and daughter in front of her. Who? The two asked in unison. Shui Jingru. After hearing the name, the father and daughter reacted instantly. Come over. Yes, the relationship between Shui Jingru and Zheng Feng is still good. Maybe letting him come forward can solve this matter. Go, go, go. Let's go to the school to find Shui Jingru now. Zhao Zongyi didn't want it for a moment. He continued to wait here and quickly said to the mother and daughter. A family of 3 is walking on the campus. People around her were pointing fingers at Zhao Tingting, and even making jokes. It seems that Zhao Tingting's expulsion from school has been broadcast. Even though everyone around him was laughing at him. But Zhao Tingting also knew what she was here to do now. She had to pretend that she couldn't see what was going on around her at all. Under the guidance of a classmate, the family of 3 finally met Shui Jingru. At this time, Shui Jingru was reading in the library. She was also a little dazed when she saw the 3 people suddenly appearing in front of her. What do you want from me? After coming out of the library, Shui Jingru immediately asked the 3 people in front of her. She also knew the relationship between these 3 people and Zheng Feng, so she was emotionally reluctant to deal with these 3 people. If you don't have anything important to do, please go back. I still have my own things to do. Seeing Shui Jingru turning around to leave, Zhao Tingting quickly stepped forward and grabbed her. Let go, Shui Jingru said coldly. Zhao Tingting saw Shui Jingru's eyes at this moment and subconsciously let go of her hand. After all, their family came here today to ask for help from Shui Jingru in front of them. Well, Miss Shui, maybe you had a slightly misunderstood impression of us before. We are actually here today to ask Miss Shui to do us a favor. We want to see Zheng Feng, we have something very important to tell him. Shui Jingru naturally frowned deeply when she heard that the 3 people in front of her were looking for Zheng Feng. If you want to find Zheng Feng, why don't you just go to him directly? Why are you looking for me? I'm very busy and I don't have time to joke with you now. Zhao Zongyi had no choice but to briefly describe what happened in his own home. After knowing what happened, Shui Wan immediately sneered. If I had known today, why bother in the beginning? Looking at you all coming here in person, I'll contact you. But whether he sees you or not is his business. I hope you won't bother me again after today. After speaking, Shui Jingru also contacted Zheng Feng. After hearing what Shui Wanyi said on the phone, Zheng Feng was immediately surprised. His eyes immediately fell on the face of Shui Tianyuan, who was still sitting on his bed. Okay, I understand. Just ask them to wait for me over there. I'll probably go over there later. After the call ended, Zheng Feng also asked Shui Weiwei immediately. My aunt, are all the things that my uncle's family is encountering now caused by you? No wonder I said you are so good at thinking about it that you want to continue the bet with me. You kid. Shui Tianyuan actually didn't care at all that these things were discovered by Zheng Feng, since the bets had been set anyway. Seeing the way Zheng Feng looked at him, Shui Tianyuan also asked with a smile. Who called you? Zhang Feng naturally didn't hide anything. Interesting, they actually went to find my sister, what do you say? Shui Tianyuan smiled and then asked Zhang Feng. What do you say? Since you want to see me, then I will go and see them. You did this, why don't you go with me? Facing what Zhang Feng said at this moment, Shui Tianyuan also smiled helplessly. Soon the two arrived at the agreed place. Han Mengyao's family had been waiting here for a long time. When they saw the two coming, the three of them got up at the same time. Let's go and sit down in the tea house and talk. Zhao Zongyi also had a smile on his face and invited the two of them. In a private room in the tea house, all 5 people sat down. But no one spoke. Zhang Feng held the tea bowl in his hand and did not look at the 3 people in front of him. Instead, he looked at the scenery outside the box. After all, they are looking for themselves today, and they should speak first if there is anything they need to do. Zhao Zongyi's family of 3 also looked at each other several times at this time. Originally, they naturally wanted to see Zhang Feng quickly, but at this time Zhang Feng was already sitting in front of them. On the contrary, they were somewhat discouraged. Well, Zhang Feng, I did something wrong before, and I hope you can forgive me. I shouldn't have said that to you, I apologize. Zhao Tingting spoke first. She took a deep look at Zhang Feng and breathed a sigh of relief after finishing speaking. Oh, at this moment, Zhang Feng listened to what Zhao Tingting said to him and just responded briefly. He still didn't look over, but looked at the scenery outside the window. Obviously, he did not choose to forgive at this time. Zhang Feng, it was your aunt and I who did something wrong about your mother. The two of us were obsessed at first, and now we have received the punishment. We admit it. But I still hope you can let Tingting go and at least let her continue to study in school. Zhao Zongyi, who was sitting on the side, also stood up suddenly. He actually didn't have high expectations for what happened to him. Even if I see Zhang Feng now and even obtain his forgiveness, I may not be able to convince the principals of those 2 schools. What class of people are those 2 principals? How could they immediately go back on their words? It's better to deal with Zhao Tingting's matter now. Is this your attitude towards asking for help? Zhang Feng finally looked at the family of 3 in front of him. He immediately snorted coldly. So what do you want us to do? Regarding what Zhang Feng said at this moment, Zhao Zongyi also frowned slightly. Naturally, he didn't know what the guy in front of him wanted to do. I have already spoken so humbly. It doesn't even seem to be an attitude of asking for help in his eyes. I just said there's something wrong with your attitude. Look at how anxious you are now. Zhang Feng continued to sneer. Forget it, I'm not as petty as you. Regarding Zhao Tingting's matter, I will go and talk to Principal Shui and ask for mercy. As for whether it will succeed in the end, I can't guarantee you. What about you? To be honest, I don't want to see you anymore in this city. You two should know what I mean, right? After hearing that Zhang Feng was willing to intercede for Zhao Tingting, the expressions on the faces of Zhao Zongyi and Han Mengyao became a little better. Okay, as long as you are willing to help, the 2 of us will leave this city immediately. Things are almost over when it comes to this. After Zhang Feng finished speaking, he stood up and prepared to leave the tea house. Shui Tianyuan did not follow directly. He just continued to sit in the tea house box and looked at the 3 people in front of him. Sometimes people have to take a slightly longer view. If you look at your current situation, you should be able to understand this sentence clearly. Zhang Feng is not ruthless enough. If I were to switch identities with him, the 3 of you would have completely disappeared from this world before tonight. Okay, I won't scare you anymore. I hope you can do what you said before. After saying these words, Shui Tianyuan got up and caught up with Zhang Feng who had already left. Why didn't you come out until now? Zhang Feng turned around and glanced at Shui Tianyuan and asked doubtfully. Isn't this a good thank you to that family of 3? Look at this bet, I think I won. Regarding the bet that Shui Tianyuan had been thinking about, Zhang Feng looked helpless. But indeed, he lost this bet. Don't worry, I'm willing to admit defeat. I will try my best to keep in touch with the squad leader during this period, but I can't guarantee whether he is willing or not. Hearing Zhang Feng say this, Shui Tianyuan was already laughing in his heart. Don't you still know about your sister? Okay, in that case, I'll go back first. Please contact my sister. I will ask her tonight. You kid, don't pretend to be confused for me when the time comes. After saying that, Shui Tianyuan also reached out and patted Zheng Feng on the shoulder, and walked towards the school first. Zheng Feng had no choice but to take out his mobile phone and ask Shui Jingru out. The two people walked side by side on the street, but neither one spoke first. After walking a long distance, Zheng Feng roughly explained the bet between him and Mo Yuan 10 times. So you lose this time? Shui Jingru asked with a smile. Zheng Feng nodded. Are you willing? If you are not willing, I will help you talk to my brother. This way you can relax a little bit. After all, if you are staying with me now because of the bet. To be honest, neither you nor I will feel too happy. When Shui Jingru said these words, she was actually extremely nervous. Naturally, she didn't know what kind of answer Zheng Feng would give. Zheng Feng fell into silence again. He looked at Shui Jingru beside him. Let's do this for now. To be honest, I wanted to go shopping with you, Monitor, early in the morning. I feel like it's nice to walk around like this. Hearing Zheng Feng's answer, Shui Jingru was obviously relieved in her heart. I know there is a delicious cake shop in front, so let's go there now. Shui Jingru smiled and grabbed Zheng Feng's wrist. In the blink of an eye, 1.5 months have passed since Zheng Feng last woke up from a coma. In this month and a half, Zheng Feng naturally did not relax at all. He also replenished all the upgrade points that were owed to the system before. There are currently more than 20 upgrade points left in the system. He also directly added all the 20 upgrade points to the skill damage. At this moment, in the system's panel attributes, Zheng Feng's skill damage has changed from the original opening point to 5,000 points. After upgrading, Zheng Feng couldn't wait to run into the training room. Generally, after passing the test, whether it is your own Blade Storm, the 8-foot Magatama, or the most damaging Vitality Bullet. After the skill damage increased, their power also experienced a qualitative change. If Zheng Feng were to fight Zhao Zongyi again now, he would never end up with internal injuries. During this month and a half, the courses in the school were basically theoretical courses. Yesterday evening, Zheng Feng, who finally had some time off, found his mother in the school cafeteria. Han Mengxin was currently dealing with the food needed for today's dinner. Seeing Zheng Feng coming to find her quickly, Han Mengxin also said quickly. Zheng Feng, why are you here? Don't let your classmates see you then, it's not good. Zheng Feng didn't care about these things at all, he said to his mother with a smile. If other students see it, they will see it. If they are not convinced, they can come and fight with me. I was busy before and didn't have time to come over and see you. Now, don't I just have time? Come on, let me help you move these things up. The other staff in the canteen smiled and nodded to him after seeing him coming to help. A few people even said this to Han Mengxin. Sister Han, your son is really good. That fool in my family knows that I ask for money, but he doesn't know what to do for me. After helping his mother do some work in the cafeteria, Zheng Feng naturally wanted to go back. Before leaving, Zheng Feng also took out a lot of building blocks from his pocket. Okay, I'll give this money to you. You can save it for me when the time comes. Naturally, Han Menglin did not refuse. After taking the money, he also said to Zheng Feng worriedly. Zheng Feng, you can still take on fewer tasks. In just a few months, you have already earned tens of thousands of Daxia coins. I'm worried that your body won't be able to bear it. Zheng Feng also smiled at his mother's concern and didn't say much. There was still evening self-study in the evening. After leaving the cafeteria, Zheng Feng went straight to the classroom. As soon as I entered the classroom door with my front foot, Chen Gang walked in with my back foot. You freshmen who have just enrolled this year, listen up. In 3 days, there will be a task for you. These were the 5 newly admitted freshmen, and they all immediately looked at Chen Gang. The other old students who had already enrolled in school naturally knew what Chen Gang was going to say next, but they also listened carefully. From time to time, his eyes would wander back and forth on the 5 people in front of him. 3 days later, the school will ask the 5 of you to select 10 freshmen each. The freshmen you choose will become your team members. A portal will open at the school. Your task requirement is to take your own team members and collect the corresponding contribution points on the other side of the portal. For half a month, Whichever team has the most contribution points in the end, the leaders of that team will receive corresponding points. These points will affect your final exam at the end of the semester. Hearing this, the 5 newly admitted students were naturally full of expectations. However, when the 3 of them thought that Zheng Feng, a monster, was actually going to participate, their newly ignited interest was instantly extinguished. Chen Gang hadn't finished speaking yet, so he continued. The school has considered that the strength gap between the 5 freshmen among you this year may be too large. So this time, the leaders of your 5 teams are not allowed to participate in the battle. Once you take action, your points will return to 0. After hearing this rule, Zheng Feng immediately understood that it was against himself. However, there is no way. If he could take action, Shui Tianyuan would be a little more difficult to deal with. The remaining 3 people can be dealt with casually. Okay, I've told you the relevant mission information. Then I will also give you the list of this year's freshmen. You have to choose 10 from them, and you need to hand the list over to me tomorrow afternoon. If you fail to submit the list after the time limit, even if you quit, your points for this mission will be reset to 0. After saying that, Chen Gang didn't stop here at all. After Chen Gang left, the 5 freshmen naturally turned around and started discussing with the old students. They should have had corresponding experience before, and it is better to ask them than not knowing anything. In previous years, the leaders of each of our teams could actually take action. After all, the world at the teleportation gate is still a bit dangerous, but since your leaders are not allowed to take action this year, it depends on the cooperation of your team members. If possible, I recommend that you take every ability into consideration when selecting freshmen, such as control ability, combat ability, repair ability. Given our abilities, if we encounter any emergencies, we should be more cooperative. Several people nodded together, and it became clear to me by then. The next time, 5 people also got the list of this year's new students at the same time. They had nothing else to do in the evening, except start studying the abilities of each of these new students. When returning to the dormitory, Shui Tianyuan also asked Zheng Feng. Have you decided on the candidates for your team? Do you want us to cooperate? Zheng Feng glanced at Shui Tianyuan. Since he proposed cooperation, Zheng Feng naturally wanted to give it a try. After all, after entering, he will not be able to participate in the battle. When the time comes, it will be much easier to plan some things with Shui Tianyuan by his side. Zheng Feng, the other 3 people, are not afraid, so why can't he take action? But this Shui Tianyuan in front of him will be the most difficult one to deal with regardless of his combat ability. Now that he wants to cooperate, it is naturally the best situation. In the blink of an eye, 3 days later. Oh. The freshmen on the list submitted by Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan tomorrow also received the notice early and gathered in the playground. After everyone gathered, Chen Gang and the other 2 teachers slowly walked over. You should be very clear about this mission. The details have been told to you. Before opening the portal, I still need to remind you that each of you will receive something similar to a token when you enter. West. Quote, if you encounter a life and death crisis in the world inside the portal, crush the token and you can be teleported back. Of course, if you come back before the mission is over, your entire team's points will be reduced based on the time you left. At the same time, the contribution points you get there will also be displayed on the token. Everyone was naturally nervous at this time. Some of the weaker students were even more nervous. They don't want to cause their team to lose points due to their own reasons. Zheng Feng looked back, selected 10 people, smiled at them, and told them not to be nervous. After giving the instructions, Chen Gang also asked the leaders of the 5 teams to draw lots to determine the order of entry. Zheng Feng drew 5 and was the last one to enter. After the order of drawing lots was decided, the 2 teachers who came with Chen Gang drew mysterious runes in the air together. Wang, a somewhat dull voice sounded. Soon, a portal appeared in front of everyone. Enter in order according to the time sequence you just listed. Shui Tianyuan immediately led his team members to the entrance of the portal. Every student who is about to enter the portal will receive the token in Chen Gang's hand. Seeing that Shui Tianyuan's entire team had already entered, Zheng Feng also frowned slightly. I don't know if the location of the teleportation will be randomly selected after entering the world after the portal. He and Shui Tianyuan have already decided to cooperate. But don't wait until you can't find anyone when you go in. The remaining 3 teams also entered one after another, and finally it was the turn of Zheng Feng's team. Before going in, Chen Gang also said something to Feng. Be careful going in. Zheng Feng nodded, and the token Chen Gang handed over stepped into the portal in front of him. After a moment of dizziness, Zheng Feng had already left and was on the playground just now. It is surrounded by a primitive jungle, full of tall trees and very lush bushes on the ground. After Zheng Feng arrived in this world, the team members he chose appeared around him one by one. Boss, what should we do next? After everyone arrived, one of them also asked Zheng Feng. At this time, Zheng Feng's face was not good looking, and he was as decisive as he had guessed before. After arriving in this world, the positions of each team were disrupted. After feeling it for a while, there were no other humans within 50 meters. Let's find a suitable place to rest first. The sky in this world seems to be different in time from the world we live in. It's almost dark here. Zheng Feng looked up at the sky and decided what to do as the first step. The 10 men then began to wander through the bushes. Among the people he chose, there was a guy with the ability to communicate with all the objects around him. The man asked about the bushes beside him and pointed forward. Captain, there is a river in front of us, we can set up camp there temporarily. Zheng Feng nodded and motioned for everyone to follow him. Sure enough, there was a slowly flowing river not far in front of him. There is also an open grassland all around. At that moment, Zheng Feng also immediately arranged for everyone to rest here temporarily. The bonfire was lit, and Zheng Feng also briefly talked to these people about how to obtain the contribution points for this mission. In this world, there are some boxes placed by Chen Gang and his other college teachers. The contribution points in each box are also very different. Some have only a few contribution points, while others have more contribution points. This can be distinguished from the appearance of each box. In addition to looking for these boxes, you can also hunt the ferocious beasts in this world in exchange for corresponding contribution points. Contribution points will be settled immediately as long as you kill them, which is quite convenient. But according to the old students from last year, the beasts here are not that easy to deal with. Most of them live in groups, and there are some ferocious beasts that live alone, but the strength of those guys is often on the high side. Anyway, according to Lao Sheng's advice, it is not recommended that people like them who enter the world obtain contribution points by hunting ferocious beasts. After all, it was still too dangerous. After roughly explaining how to obtain contribution points, Zheng Feng also arranged for the night watch personnel. The whole night was relatively safe, but during the vigil, someone discovered a group of beasts on the other side of the river. It's just that those ferocious beasts didn't come over. Anyway, they chose to stay away after seeing them on the other side of the river. Early in the morning, after washing up a little, Zheng Feng also led his team members to set off again. Their goal today was simple, to find as many boxes with contribution points as possible. Avoid other team members as much as possible. Meet Shui Tianyuan as much as possible. At the same time, the other 3 teams in this world have gathered together. 33 people in total. The leaders of each team held a brief meeting together individually. The content of the meeting was simple. The 3 teams will act together, and the contribution points obtained will be divided into 3 parts. Finally, they have a more important goal, which is to find Zheng Feng's team and eliminate all the members of their team. Soon, some of the members of their group used their summons to spot traces of other team members in the air. After learning the news, they immediately started heading to the supermarket. Regardless of whether they were members of Zheng Feng's team or Shui Tianyuan's team, they were not their own. Just get rid of the other party. Far away from these people, a new student found a box that looked medium-sized. He couldn't wait to open the box, and in an instant, 30 contribution points appeared on the token he had received before. Looking at the extra contribution points on his token, the freshman was naturally a little happy. But just when he was about to get up and leave this place, he found that there were many more people around him. What are you going to do? In just a moment, he realized that these people were not his teammates, and he immediately asked them in a deep voice. Nothing to do, I'll send you on your way. One of them said something, and then everyone took action together. Countless abilities began to appear around this guy's body. Although he was a little reluctant, this new student also knew very well that he had to leave this world quickly. Otherwise, I am afraid that I will die directly under the attack of these guys. In an instant, he crushed the token that he had just obtained the contribution points for. The new figure disappeared. When he appeared again, he had returned to the familiar playground. Why, he, too, could only sigh deeply, hoping that other teammates who would not stop working hard could continue to work hard. He ran pretty fast, but I'll keep the contribution points. Where the new student was originally, after he crushed the token, the 30 contribution points he found were directly suspended in the air. The leaders of the 3 teams also left 10 points each. Keep looking and find them all. One of the people who collected the contribution points also said immediately. Shui Tianyuan was originally quite leisurely, but at this moment, the contribution points displayed on the token in his hand had reached hundreds of figures. However, he felt at the moment the new student was forced to leave this world. It turns out you guys are uniting too. Interesting, interesting. I originally wanted to play with you, but you ended up being so unreasonable, right? Shui Tianyuan sneered twice, and immediately informed the remaining 9 team members to return to him. Come with me. Without saying a word or explaining anything, Shui Tianyuan walked directly towards where Zheng Feng was at this moment. In fact, from the moment Zhou entered this world yesterday, Shui Tianyuan had already sensed his position. But he was not in a hurry to go over and join Zheng Feng. After all, he didn't know what would happen to the remaining 3 teams at that time. But now, the other 3 teams have begun to cooperate, and he can no longer remain relaxed. He is leading his men to search for a box containing contribution points. Zheng Feng suddenly took a look. Then he saw Shui Tianyuan leading a group of people towards him. The members behind him saw someone coming and immediately got ready to fight. Zheng Feng waved his hands to them, indicating that they don't need to be so nervous now. Shui Tianyuan just came to Zheng Feng. He didn't say anything else, but said directly. The other 3 guys also joined forces. One of my members has been killed. Zheng Feng frowned immediately. Sure enough, he counted the number of people in Shui Tianyuan's team, and there was one less. Do you know where they are now? Zheng Feng asked. Well, I know their movements clearly now. They're heading our way now. Shui Tianyuan nodded slightly, and then asked Zheng Feng. Are you ready? Is it time to carry out the plan we made that night? Recalling that when they first learned about this mission, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan discussed a cruel plan. Just like those 3 people, the ultimate goal of their plan is to eliminate all members of the other 3 teams. Even the 2 team members they finally selected were selected based on this goal. In order to prevent the other 3 guys from seeing it in advance. When they selected the corresponding members, they did not put certain members who were related to each other on the same team. Now that the 2 people are together, the original plan can begin. Didn't they already take action? Then we can't be idle anymore. It's time to let them know that we can't fight them alone, let alone fight them in groups. Zheng Feng said and laughed instantly. The 2 people then began to distribute their team members separately, asking them to do certain things according to certain methods. Among the other 3 teams, the guy who discovered the freshman in advance also temporarily targeted some people not far away. Everyone in these 3 teams immediately rushed in the corresponding direction. Don't worry, even if Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan are together at this time, we have nothing to fear. The new person who carried out the detection activities also made new discoveries about the situation just observed. He said the number of people there had exceeded the limit for one team. In other words, they had actually discovered that Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were together. That's why one of the team leaders said this. That is, if Zheng Feng can still take action, we might lose. But now that it has been stipulated that as captains cannot take action, then what are we afraid of? I don't have an absolute advantage in terms of numbers. We have even eliminated one of the members on the opposite side, so there is nothing to worry about. The freshmen, who were a little worried at first, became excited after hearing what the captain said. After all, they had already heard that Zheng Feng was a monster. I was thinking about facing him, so naturally I was a little timid. After knowing that the guy can't take action, your timidity will naturally disappear instantly. Stop. One of the captains, who could already see someone moving not far away with his naked eyes, suddenly said something. Everyone stopped instantly. I feel like something's wrong. He frowned and said something. Look at those guys, it's like they didn't notice us at this time. I remember when I was looking at the list of personnel submitted by Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan, I saw that both of them chose freshmen with investigative abilities. The distance between us and them is already very close. They should have discovered us. How could they look at H over there and act like they didn't notice us? The captain's words naturally aroused the curiosity of the other two captains. Don't all go out yet. I'll take my team members over there to test it out and see what's going on. You should pay attention to my gestures. Once I make a fist movement, you will rush forward immediately. The captain of one of the teams said something to the other two captains beside him. Then he waved directly to his team members. The 11 people instantly approached the figure they saw in the distance. I didn't expect to meet you here. Are you two planning to join forces? Do you want to take me with you? When the captain came here, he immediately saw Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan standing over there, and immediately said. Regarding this guy who suddenly arrived at this moment, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan also showed a smile instantly. Okay, we weren't ready to join forces yet, but one of his members seemed to have been teleported out. I don't know what exactly happened, but you happen to be here too, so the three of us can join forces a little bit. Zheng Feng looked at the captain at the beginning and naturally said with a smile. The captain did not agree immediately, but looked around, with a curious look on his face. Color. Since there are members around you who have been teleported out, why are there still only these few here? Let the other members come back quickly. It will be bad if something happens. If these are the only ones left, I won't join forces with you two. After all, we captains can't do anything, right? The man said and took a step back. At the same time, he was also ready to send out the secret signal. Hey, didn't I just know that the members in my hands were teleported out? The remaining members have been informed and they are on their way back now. Hey, it seems that my team member was teleported just now on the route you came here. Did you do it? Shui Tianyuan said, and suddenly asked the captain coldly. The captain also quickly waved his hand. How could it be that I did it? I just came over there, okay. Don't talk nonsense. If I really did it, would I still come here to seek cooperation with you? Just as the captain was explaining this, some fog suddenly appeared around him. What happened? He instantly felt something was wrong. Next, many members showed themselves, all belonging to the team controlled by Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan. You are ambushing me. In an instant, the captain was not stupid and immediately understood what was going on. He immediately said something angrily. Zheng Feng sneered at this moment. Okay, stop acting with us, it's useless. We really don't know that the three of you have joined forces. Are they still waiting for you to send out the secret signal? You are allowed to join forces to allow our team members to be teleported out, but we are not allowed to attack your team members. The guy who was directly exposed by Zheng Feng no longer had any concealment. He immediately sneered. So you already knew this. Now that you know everything, you still dare to attack me now. As he said this, the man made a fist-pumping gesture as agreed before. I have already notified the other side and they will be here soon with their team members. Either you surrender obediently and hand over all the contribution points you have, or you just wait for them all to be teleported out. The man spoke with confidence at this moment. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan did not let their team members rush to attack in 3.3. He just looked at the guy in front of him with a sneer. What happened? Did those guys not see my signal? After a while, before his teammates came over with his team members, the man was obviously a little panicked. He was also constantly waving his hands at this moment. Finally, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan couldn't help laughing. Since you have seen the fog appearing around you, can't you think about what the fog is for? Forget it, we are not going to waste time with you here. We also give you two options, either hand over all the contribution points you have, or let us teleport all the members you have. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan glanced around together. The team members who had gathered nearby all slowly moved forward and began to release their abilities. Only then did the man realize that he had been fooled by these two guys from beginning to end. In the distance, the other two people were still looking at this side. In fact, A long time has passed, but in front of them, after their teammates arrived there, they were just talking and laughing with the two people over there. There was absolutely no thought of shaking his fist or sending a signal. The two of them were frowning closely at this moment. Do you think he is trying his best to prepare to join forces with those two guys? He won't betray us, right? As time passed, the two of them naturally had very bad thoughts in their minds. Let's go and wait here. It's not an option if we continue like this. Go over there and take a look. There are so many of us anyway. Even if we attack directly, we are not afraid of an ambush by the two of them. One of them stood up immediately, preparing to lead his team members over there. The other person naturally followed closely behind. On Zhengfeng and Shui Tianyuan's side, the captain standing in front of them has not yet made a choice. Some of the team members behind him have already crushed the tokens in their hands in extreme helplessness. After losing almost half of the team members, the captain said helplessly, "Okay, I'll give you all the contribution points I have. Tell the people in your hands to stop attacking." There is indeed a big gap between the 10 team members he has now and the 19 people he will have after Zhengfeng and Shui Tianyuan join forces. If one of them fails, all his team members will be eliminated, and he may not be able to get a single point for his final contribution. Wouldn't it be better to make a choice earlier? We have to wait until now. With that said, Zhengfeng and Shui Tianyuan also raised the tokens in their hands. In an instant, the remaining guys' contribution points were directly divided between the two of them. The surrounding team members also stopped attacking. Just after the man breathed a sigh of relief, his two teammates also rushed here with the players behind them. Sure enough, they were hiding in that place. Okay, from now on, the three of us can join forces and eliminate these guys first. After that person's teammates arrived, Shui Tianyuan suddenly shouted to them. As Shui Tianyuan's voice fell, the expressions of the two captains who had just arrived suddenly changed. Fortunately, the abilities of the team members around him have not dissipated yet. I just said, you've been here for a long time, why haven't you sent us a signal yet? We are still talking and laughing here. I also believe that you will not betray us, okay? Come on, I want to see who will destroy whom first. As he spoke, he immediately asked the players in his hands to attack the remaining 5 players of the man just now. The other person was not in a hurry to take action, he just stared at Zhengfeng and Shui Tianyuan. In just an instant, out of the 5 remaining team members, only the last 2 were left. Wait a minute, are you stupid? Didn't you realize that Shui Tianyuan said that on purpose? What you just saw was an illusion. Didn't you realize that half of the team members in my hand have been teleported out? I'm 22 and I'm really going to be pissed off by you guys. Seeing that he had the last 2 team members left, the man immediately roared at the captain who was calling for action. Another captain, who had been watching and not in a hurry to take action, also followed behind to stop him. Ha ha ha, I just said yes. Look, we don't need to take action anymore, these guys are going to fight among themselves. Shui Tianyuan then said something. Quote closing square bracket exclamation mark quote. The captain, who finally realized that he had been fooled, gritted his teeth fiercely at this moment, pointed at the 2 people in front of him, and roared angrily. But soon, some of his team members who had already taken action were directly attacked by Zhengfeng and Shui Tianyuan's team members, resulting in the loss of 3 or 4 in an instant. There was a big gap in the original number of players on both sides. But just like that, the same situation appeared in terms of the number of players on both sides. Now that you're all here, don't leave in a hurry. We have already prepared a big gift for you. Zhengfeng also took a step forward, and the 3 team members in his hands immediately appeared beside them. With the cooperation of the 3 team members, an attack method similar to a vitality bomb began to slowly take shape above their heads. Zhengfeng, Teacher Chen clearly said that the captain is not allowed to do anything. One of the captains saw what was happening around Zhengfeng at this time and immediately reminded him. But Zhengfeng said nonchalantly, "Didn't I take action? Can't I still pass on the skills I know to my team members?" "So are you ready?" Indeed, after Zhengfeng finished speaking, the 3 captains who were standing together again frowned together. "You hate me. I hope no one of you will be alone next time, and then don't blame us for being rude." With that said, the three of them quickly evacuated from here with their remaining team members. Seeing these guys walking away in despair, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan immediately burst out laughing while standing there. They themselves probably didn't expect that they, who originally had the advantage, would directly become the disadvantaged party in the blink of an eye. After the three people were indeed gone, Zheng Feng asked the three people around him to stop pretending. Naturally, he did not teach the three people around him how to use the vitality bomb. Just using their respective abilities, the final simulation result actually did not cause any substantial harm at all. The three captains were just too scared. Zheng Feng, those three guys shouldn't be interested in us in a short time. It's time for us to take action. Over there, I found a group of ferocious beasts. The level is not high. The power in our hands is enough to completely eliminate them. Do you have this idea? After Zheng Feng heard Shui Tianyuan's invitation, he naturally agreed immediately. The three captains who left Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan stopped after running a long way. After stopping, two of the guys started arguing. Mainly because of one of the previous ones, because Shui Tianyuan took action directly after what he said. Look how many people I have left now. Don't I also have a few team members left? Yours was taken away by Zheng Feng's team members, mine was taken away by you. Listening to the quarrel between the two captains, the team members in their hands sighed helplessly. In fact, they themselves didn't know why they chose to follow this captain in the first place. It has no effect at all. Looking at the two captains who were arguing, the last captain looked towards their team members. Would you like to follow me? You captain, you have no brains. If you keep following me, you might be teleported out at some point. You know, this mission is linked to the final exam results. The sooner you are sent out, the more likely it is. Before starting this task, Chen Gang did say that everyone can find one person to be his team member. But there is no regulation on how many members each team should have. So I wanted to give it a try. The team member who had been persuaded by him looked at the captain who was still arguing over there and immediately chose to give up his original identity and join another team. After he confirmed this idea, the token in his hand also changed instantly. Conversion successful. The two people who were still quarreling at first, one of them was facing Cao Cao, suddenly the token on his body was broken. Before being teleported out, he looked back. Instantly I understood what was going on. The only two team members he had on hand chose a new captain. In other words, he would be forced to teleport out because he had no more team members at this time. Ah, you all just wait for me. Before he was completely sent out of this world, he roared angrily in an instant. The other captain was also a little dazed at the moment, and for a moment he glared angrily at the captain who had silently absorbed the other team members. You should be like him. Otherwise, I will take action. Little did he know that before the captain even spoke, he already had players on hand to choose a new team. It seems that it is obvious where people's aspirations lie. When the two captains were teleported out of this world one after another, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan, who were still on their way, naturally discovered the clues. It seems that those three guys have also started to bite each other. I didn't expect that they did it first, even if we didn't do it cruelly. Shui Tianyuan immediately sneered, but at this moment, Zheng Feng didn't care about this matter at all. He was just curious about one thing. Will I get upgrade points for the ferocious beasts I ask my team members to kill later? Naturally, he asked about the system. The system responded immediately. Upgrade points can only be obtained by killing the ferocious beasts personally. You cannot obtain upgrade points by killing in any other way. Zheng Feng also felt heartbroken after learning that his team members had killed the ferocious beasts and were unable to obtain upgrade points. He is also planning to wait until he has enough upgrade points to draw a lottery to see if he can draw any new skills. The result was this answer. The two of them soon arrived at the area that Shui Tianyuan discovered before. Seeing that there were almost 40 or 50 second level ferocious beasts in front of him, Zheng Feng really couldn't help but want to take action himself. Even though the upgrade points provided by the second level ferocious beasts are not many, at present, they can be accumulated in quantity. What a pity, what a pity. So much so that Zheng Feng even showed a look of great regret at this time. What are you doing, kid? Why, do you feel sorry for these beasts? Shui Tianyuan said jokingly. Unexpectedly, Zheng Feng sighed directly and replied. I feel sorry for myself. Shui Tianyuan was stunned, unable to understand what it meant. But right now, it's still important to deal with these area beasts. Under the command of Shui Tianyuan, the 19 team members spent more than an hour to kill all these ferocious beasts. The two people's contribution points also reached 100. It can be said that I have earned enough. Right now, we both have the same contribution points, but I don't know to what extent the remaining contribution points are. As for the last guy who stayed, do you think it could be that guy Zhao Ming? Looking at the contribution points appearing on his token, Shui Tianyuan also smiled with satisfaction. Zheng Feng shook his head at this question. I feel that the probability of it being Zhao Mingsheng is not very high. That guy attacked his allies over there just because of your words. I feel like he might be the first one to be teleported out. Zheng Feng also took a look at the contribution points on the token, and felt a little disappointed. How great would it be if all these contribution points could be exchanged for upgrade points in the system? Shui Tianyuan also nodded to Zheng Feng's answer. Careful. Suddenly, Shui Tianyuan's expression changed. Zheng Feng. Then he sensed it instantly and shouted to the team members behind him. Everybody crouched down. A group of people didn't know what happened, but they all followed their captain's request and crouched down instantly. Boom! A huge feather arrow suddenly flew from a distance. If they hadn't squatted down long ago, several people would have been killed by this feather arrow in an instant. It's too late to even crush the token. Who is it? Why such a strong attack? Did the guy who stayed behind do it? Chen Yulin sat on a big rock and saw the scene in the distance, sighing helplessly. It's just a little bit close. Let's go, let's change places. Following his order, a total of 19 people immediately followed him. These 19 people are all members of the team behind him at this moment. At this time, Zheng Feng also frowned slightly in the direction of the arrow. He could feel that the guy who stayed behind might not be as strong as him, or even as good as Zhao Mingsheng. But in terms of strategy and planning, he should be as good as Shui Tianyuan. Thinking of this, Zheng Feng also smiled and patted Shui Tianyuan, who was also standing next to him. It looks like your opponent is here. Unexpectedly, after hearing Zheng Feng's words, the smile on Shui Tianyuan's face had completely disappeared. Even 220's eyes opened slightly. My opponent, huh, you think too highly of him. You want to play with me, right? Watch out, I'm going to let him play with all my underwear. But you have to promise me something first. Did Zheng Feng see Shui Tianyuan being so serious? Let all the team members in your hands follow my regulations exactly. There was naturally no problem with this matter, and Zheng Feng agreed immediately. I can't take action here anyway, so I'll leave it all to you. Immediately, after Zheng Feng agreed, Shui Tianyuan also turned around and pointed at one person each from his own team and Zheng Feng's team. Those guys who attacked us before haven't left yet. You two should follow them quietly. Don't do anything, just make sure you're not discovered. The two people who were pointed out immediately set off. Shui Tianyuan then sat cross-legged on the ground and took out a piece of paper from his arms. Zheng Feng curiously walked over and took a look. Why did you bring in the list of people? How come it's still for the 5 of us, and you actually look at it? Shui Tianyuan looked at Zheng Feng as if he were an idiot. Chen Gang never said that this thing cannot be brought in. This is called knowing yourself and your enemy and winning every battle, do you understand? Come on, let me see who has the ability to shoot that arrow. If I catch you, you will be in trouble. Shui Tianyuan sneered, started searching directly on the list in hand. But soon, Shui Tianyuan frowned. How come 8 of the team members this guy brought in have support abilities? Not one of the detection personnel is brought. The other 2 are one with recovery ability and one with combat ability. Hey, this guy with fighting ability is all about archery. It seems that he should have shot the arrow just now, but his talent is only B level, so it shouldn't be very powerful. That's right. Shui Tianyuan looked at the information he had retrieved and frowned. Zheng Feng also raised his head to take a look, and then pointed at himself. I only have E-level talent. You are a monster, who can compare with you? Shui Tianyuan said unceremoniously. Do you know anything about this new student named Chen Yulin? Chen Yulin, Zheng Feng also frowned slightly when he heard the name. Among the 5 specially recruited freshmen who came in with the 2 of them, he only knew Zhao Mingsheng. It was because he deliberately provoked him that he remembered that guy. As for the other 2, Zheng Feng didn't even know their names at all. Forget it, it's useless to ask you. You are either on the way to a mission, doing a mission, or accepting a mission. It seems that among the other 3 people, it is Zhao Yulin who should stay. After all, he is the only one with the ability to shoot feather arrows, but according to the combat capabilities of the team members in his hands, how did he send away the others? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.